African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve. As you can see, we're watching a herd of Impala. It is quite warm this afternoon, but it is a beautiful afternoon. So my name is Cedric. I have Morgan on camera with me this afternoon. Lots of exciting things on our Djuma side. To catch up on the lions, try to find Lalomba, and also maybe look at the buffaloes. So yeah, it is quite exciting for us here. So on my side, I will try to see if Lalomba still in the area. Ellie will try to find the Talamatis again. So this morning we had a very good cat morning with some cheetahs, leopard, lions, but also this afternoon I would like to focus a bit on birding as well. This herd of Impala are quite relaxed and very quiet. It is quite warm. But as usual, don't forget to send us your question at #WildEarth on Twitter, at FC on YouTube, and if you're under the age of 18, pop us an email on kidsquestion@wildearth.tv. You can also register on our website, head to the live safari page, and you can submit your question there. It looks like we're moving west. Maybe we're kind of following the sun. We will spend a bit of time here. Feed as soon as it gets a little bit cooler, we might feed a little bit more, actually be more active. So on our side, we're not far from where Lalomba was seen this morning. So yeah, I think that's the best thing to do, and we're also going to look for some elephants in the area. But we are very excited to have you on board to your own live safari through the African wild. Yeah, so I saw in that herd of Impala lots of males, but there was a couple of females as well. As you may know, the females might be pregnant during this time of the year because they will have a lamb, let's say around November, December. Yeah, as I was saying, it is quite warm here. It's a completely different weather compared to this morning. This morning was cloudy, a little bit of rain, and now it's open sky, warm, and a little bit of wind. Linda, you saying you love to see beautiful impalas? Yeah, they are very beautiful. I apologize, I don't know if you saw that. There's the main road at the back, and there was some people passing there. And I think the impalas might have spotted them. It's funny how their behavior can change suddenly as soon they spot something unusual in the bush. We can look like they relax again. This is a beautiful ram, very nice horns. Yeah, so I was saying, I think it was this morning or yesterday, but impalas, there's so many of them that normally we get a bit like, see them all the time, so we don't focus on them, but they are very, very beautiful antelopes, and they're always clean. The reason for that, they groom themselves quite a lot, and they also will groom each other in some areas like the neck, when one individual can't groom itself. You can see they're looking in that direction. Looks like I think they're not very comfortable here anymore, so they might moved off. Yeah, so it is my second day today for that week. I would love to see a leopard, so hopefully Tlalamba will still be there. But also I'm interested in some birding. Judy, you're asking if it's possible to age impalas. You can do it when they are young, obviously, especially with the males, because you can see. The thing is that with impalas, you know when they are born, so they are almost born in November or December. So when they are 1 year old, the male will have short little horns, and when they are 2 years old, it's a little bit longer. So it's easier to age them when they are young. When they got full adult size, after 5 years or 4 years, 5 years, it's getting a little bit more tricky. But they don't live very long, up to 15 years. Yeah, so it makes it easier when it is the early stage of their life. For the females also, you will see they're a bit smaller than the adults. But obviously for the male, it makes it easier with the horns being shorter. But now if you can hear, it's a little bit windy, which is quite nice actually because it is quite warm. Yeah, so of course impalas, sorry, have quite a stressful life because lots of predators like to hunt them, like leopard, lions, hyenas. Okay, so it is warm and sunny here. Let's see what is the weather at all our locations.
Welcome in Bushwalk. We're out and about at Eco Training Pridelands and we're looking for animals. What we're doing at the moment is we position right up on a rocky outcrop where we can scan animals moving towards a waterhole. So my name is JP Leroux and behind the cameras we've got Craig. So the plans for this afternoon is to start our walk from here, make our way towards one of the dams, or to go and follow up on anything that we can see moving along the drainage lines. So the animals that we are targeting for this afternoon is elephants as well as giraffe. One of the very few animals that will move in the heat of the day, where most of the other animal species will go and rest up and conserve their energy by remaining in the shade. Interestingly enough, one of the animal species that do quite often move during the heat of the day is actually buffalo, and they do so when they've got a calf on foot, because they know that that predator interaction would be at its lowest during that period, as cats are most likely going to rest in the heat, and only will become active once it's become much cooler.
Yeah, so we decided to move from the impalas and see if we can get a little bit closer where Tlalamba was. But there's also some animals on our left there. It is not the best visual, but I will try to get a little gap. We're nice to spend some time with these big animals. I see one there. I saw two in the distance there, but this one is the closest one. Obviously this is a elephant, and that would be elephant bull. You can see by the size it is a bit big. I'm just going to stay quiet a little bit and let you enjoy. Like is chewing on a branch there. It's quite nice to have an elephant facing you directly like that. It's always nice to spend time with elephants, especially with breeding herds with the young one, when they do lots of very active things.
Good afternoon, everyone. Lovely to start an afternoon, a very lazy afternoon with, the king of the jungle, as they like to call the magnificent African lions. What a better way to start an African safari. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today is Darren, and we are back with the Talamati Pride of Lions. We've had all the weathers today. We found them this morning, and they were coming back from the Manuleti, where presumably they went off to hunt buffalo, and we followed them all around this morning, and it was quite interesting, but it got very wet. At one point we even had to put the roofs on the cars to prevent the equipment from getting damaged. But now the sun is shining, the lions are here, and a big thank you to everyone on the dam cam that actually pointed to them being around here. I'm quite impressed that you can see all the way here from the dam cam. I don't think you could get all around here, because we were headed to the place where they were last left, which is not too far from here. It's a concrete sort of crossing, probably Djuma's only concrete crossing, and apparently they were there left this morning. So on the way there we didn't see any, and then thank you to the guys in the dam camp for letting us know that they were around here, and then on the way back we spotted about maybe 5 of them in the grass. So we thought perhaps they had gone down to the water for a drink, but it doesn't seem like that's happened yet, so maybe later on this afternoon. Not sure where the rest of the pride is. As I said, we saw about maybe 3 or 4 of them that were just busy moving a little bit further east earlier on. So I think maybe what's happened is that they've gone and lie down under the shade of a tree. It is on the warmer side this afternoon, so I think that's probably what these guys are doing. And this lioness, obviously very hungry. There are a lot of Impala on the other side of the dam, and I can see all of them sort of foraging and feeding on the grass just in the distance. And if I can see them, surely a lion that's got much better visual or much better eyes in terms of picking up detail in the long distance can also see them. I think this is the female that's missing the tip of the tail, the younger female, that also seemed to have had an injury or a limp on her back leg when she was younger, but doesn't seem to deter her too much from now, other than a missing tuft of hair on the tail. She seems to keep up with the pride. Seems like we've got a bit of a injured bunch between Darkmane, and Darkmane is the dominant male lion that hangs around with this pride, and this female, but they're all looking in pretty great condition, so nothing really that's going to stop them. It's almost like she wants to go running and then just get the rest of the pride and be like, let's go eat Impala. You see, she's not looking too skitty, but I would imagine that these guys are in search of their next meal. This morning there was a herd of buffalo that we thought they were trailing, and we were kind of hoping that they were going to carry on trailing them for the rest of the afternoon, as the buffalo made way to one of the larger water holes of the Djuma Traverse. So we're kind of sort of hoping that eventually they'll carry on going that way. As I mentioned, dark mane was with them this morning. So for a pride of, well, I ended up counting 10. I'm not sure if there were the 11 of them this morning there. And dark mane there, it could be a formidable force to just try and bring down a buffalo. Although hunting buffalo is not easy, not even for 11 lions. So they'll surely have to think about what they're doing. An impala over there, a little bit easier because it's a little bit smaller, but also it will be only a morsel for as many lions. Seeing we've got one of them just chilling in here, we're gonna sort of look around, see if we can locate the rest of the pride, perhaps catch up with my friend Dark Mane that had me driving around yesterday like mad, and we'll send you guys across to Cedric, who's having a fun afternoon with all the giants of Djuma.
Yeah, very nice that Ellie managed to find the lions. That's great. Great start for the afternoon drive. On our side, we are on Buffalo line and we find one elephant bull. There was a second one at the back. It's a bit far though. It is quite thick, so we can't really see. But yeah, so beautiful elephant bull. Very relaxed, currently feeding. This morning we saw a young elephant suckling on the mother. And I was asking myself how much milk we can drink a day. So I did a little bit of research today, and apparently we can drink up to 10 liters of milk a day for the young one. Obviously not the big bull, they don't drink milk, but for the elephant calf. One thing also which is amazing about that is that it has been recorded that one elephant was still suckling at the age of 10 years old, which is quite late. Obviously that elephant was feeding on vegetation as well, but also still suckling sometime. So big bull elephants are, as I said, very big. This one I think is not the biggest one I've saw. It can grow a little bit more, but is very impressive. And we can weigh up to 6 tons. You can see them feeding there. We can eat a lot, up to 300 kilograms a day. And also because they eat so much, we can release a lot of dung per day, up to 155 kilograms of dung per day. To help for the digestion, they will also drink a lot of water, about 160, 180 liters a day. So this number that I'm giving you, it's obviously for the big male elephants. Obviously, if they're a small elephant, they will eat a bit less and drink a bit less. You can see they're showing a branch. So they will eat grass, bark, tree barks, leaves, branches, fruits like marula fruits. And they can live up to 60 years, 60, 65 years, depending on the habitat and the condition of the elephant as well. But they generally die when they lose, well, they not lose, but their last set of teeth is completely worn out, so they can't feed properly and get enough nutriment in their body. So this is why most of the elephant carcass will be found quite close to water, and also where the vegetation is a bit soft, but make it easier for them to feed. But this one is very well and alive. It didn't move at all since we got there. Yeah, I mean, still in the same spot. You can hear the other one at the back pushing a tree there. Rona, you're asking at what age they go into must. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure at what age, but they will start. It's quite early actually, in their teenage time, but they will start breeding much later. The reason is is that there's so much competition and the female like to mate with the big bull. So it's more relatively they will start mating from 25 years old, but more closely to 35. Yeah, elephant is in most are quite dangerous, obviously because they are quite moody. So it's always good to keep your distance with elephants who are in must. I did check this one. This one doesn't show any sign of being in must. This is one of the first things I check when I encounter bull elephants. So how you will know if they are in must, if there's a lot of urine dripping on the back leg and also the temples gland, if there's some secretion coming out of it. Richard, sorry, you're saying Djuma have been very productive in terms of sighting? Yes. Today was very good. Yesterday was very good as well. But no cats yesterday, but lots of birds, buffaloes, elephants. It is a good time of the year because it is quite dry. So it's open, so it's easier to spot the animal, but also there's less water, so the animal will tend to be around water sources. So it makes it a little bit easier to find animals. When it gets into the summer season, when it's very green and rainy, then it gets a little bit more tricky. So generally from now until October, it's one of the best time. But I would say from June, it starts opening nicely, the vegetation, so it's quite nice. Very nice to spend time. So elephant bulls get to puberty around 12 years old, but obviously they will not mate until from 25, but maybe even a bit later. Because they will continuously grow up to 45 years old. Let's say when they are 45 years old, they at their biggest, and then stay that size or still grow a little bit, but slower. They will grow quite slower from there. You can see the big ears, obviously. The ears itself comprise 20% of their whole body surface. Thank you. It's opening the ears for me there. And also there's very big veins in the ears. There's lots of blood passing in the ears, and when they shake their ears, it's cooling the blood. This is a good way for them for staying cool, because the blood will be redistributed in their body. So they can pass all their blood every 20 minutes through their ears. If I'm not mistaken, it is 12 liters per minute. Okay, so this elephant will stay here probably. I just want to go check if Talamati is still in the area, and hopefully we will find her.
Well, thankfully we've managed to find some of the other lions. It's quite funny. There are about maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lions just hiding behind the shade of a tree. The biggest tree around the area, of course, had all the lions underneath it. Well, not the biggest tree, but the one that offered the most shade. And then we found another 3 lionesses on top of the one that we were with earlier. So I think if we've got, I forgot already. How many did I say were here? 5? 9 lions all in total, and then Darkmane is also not too far from here. But you see, it is still quite hot, but at this time of the year, and also because today has been a little bit on the cooler side, instead of having lions are completely out of it, we've got a few females that have got their heads up. We saw that one earlier. We've got this one unfortunately, just behind the clump of grass, of trees. And then there are some more all around us that have also got sort of their heads up. And then a few of them are just hiding behind the tiny little shade that's given by the tree. And they're all looking in the direction of the dam. So I think, if anything, they're going to start moving a little bit earlier today. They seem interested, definitely. And if they've been lying around here, there isn't a lot of cover, so maybe we'll catch them when they go down for a drink. That would be quite nice, because lions tend to line up when they go drinking, and it's a very beautiful sight of all of them just sitting one next to one another, quenching their thirst, as they say. She eats very intensely, and some of them are not even bothered. They're also looking very clean after their natural shower that they had this morning. I'm sure they spent quite a bit of time grooming. There wasn't a lot of mud, which was good. So that was good. Standing by.
Ali, I can't get down there at the moment. I'm heading up to the airstrip, but while I was sitting on the deck at Wordkela, I heard what sounded like a duiker being killed. On the other side of the dam wall, the Wordkela dam wall. I don't know if you want to go and check it out.
Just on the other side of the dam wall.
Welcome back on Bushwalk. We're on a little footpath that's leading towards one of the main water holes, and we found a number of trucks that we were looking at. This one right over here, this is Giraffe. We've often talked about the differences between giraffe as well as between buffalo, and we actually have both of them right over here. So with giraffe, we've always said that it's quite rectangular in shape. You can notice how long it is, but it often has a raised little bit of soil over here due to the negative space in the front part of the foot. And then right over here, this is buffalo. And you can see the length from here to here, much more rounded. And if you would put it into a square, it would fit nicely into a square-shaped little box. Both of these animals are even-toed ungulates, as they get 2 halves to their foot. And we know that they both are ruminants, so both of them has got a complex 4-chambered stomach. However, one of them is slightly more effective when it comes to digesting its food and getting the maximum nutrients out of it, and that's for giraffe. This is giraffe's pellets over here. Giraffes are browsers, and they've got little finger-like structures in the inside of the stomach, which actually increases the absorption area inside the stomach to make it more effective. We also find that the stomach this extracts a large amount of moisture, and this is why these pellets are fairly small and compact. Right over here, this is buffalo, typical cow pat that we have over here. Buffalo on the opposite, they are bulk grazers. They feed on large amounts of grass, which is not necessarily palatable to other species. Sometimes it actually pays off not to be very selective, as animals that are very selective about what they eat can often come short when there's environmental changes within that area that can hamper their diet. So we're going to continue. We're going to go and see if we can go and find one of these guys. However, these trucks, well, from this morning, we might still catch up with them. In the meanwhile, while we're walking off and to go and see if we can find any of these animals, let's go and see what Cedric is up to.
Yeah, welcome back with us. So we left our elephants and now we're currently driving, trying to see if we can find the tracks going into the block where Tlalamba is. So we're driving slowly and looking around. Because I took like the fire break from Mvubu cut line and it was southeast of, well, east of Mvubu. So I'm going to try our best to find the vehicle trucks going in. Might take us a little while, but it's always like that when you're not sure where that thing is. Of course, I'm looking also in the trees. There was a kill apparently with her, so maybe she might have bring the kill in a tree. And if we found the right area, I really hope she will be there. There's a little Steinbok that's going to cross the road. They are too fast. Okay, so we'll try to look for that leopard in the meantime. Enjoy the clip of this next expedition in the Masai Mara.
The Masai Mara in Kenya is an iconic wilderness filled with life. Its inspirational beauty has captivated our hearts on WildEarth for many years. While this season of the world's greatest migration has been missed, WildEarth is preparing a spectacular comeback in 2022. For the first time ever, WildEarth will be running expeditions to Kenya's Masai Mara throughout the 2022 migration season. Hosted by David Githu and Isaac Rotich, you could be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration with the world, live on WildEarth's daily safaris. If you're interested, then head over to our website to find out more.
Well, we have decided to reposition, and it's quite a nice view of the pile or the puddle of lions that we've got just behind this termite mound with this bush willow tree. It's funny because they're semi-active. I wouldn't say that they're, in the typical lion slumber where they're going to sleep for hours. Oh, guys, I like it when you prove me right. I think this is just repositioning to sleep. But their heads have constantly been facing the dam. And then just before, when you guys were last with us, we got an update from one of the guides that is staying at Fuyatela, which is the lodge that is on the other side of the dam, saying that he thought he heard a duiker being killed. So he said, and they make these bleating sound. It's quite a distinctive call, and it's actually not nice. But he said he thinks there was something sort of roundabout behind the dam wall. And if I'm piecing the puzzle together, I'm not sure if the lions, because they were left this morning just a little bit further sort of east and south from where we are, and then that was the general direction that they've gone through the whole morning, and now we found them here, which is almost like backtracking or coming back on their steps, which, unless there's a hunting opportunity, lions don't tend to do. And as I said, we were pretty certain that they were trailing the buffalo this morning, because they were just going wherever it is that the buffalo had been. So it could be, and this is me just taking a wild guess, that the lions also heard whatever it is that was being killed behind the dam wall, and then they just came sort of to investigate, or, they just came into this area to try and figure out what it is that was happening. So, nice scratch. So it could be that that's what kind of made them come back. So now that they're all pretty flat, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go investigate behind the dam wall for a little bit, and anyone watching the dam cam might be worth just keeping an eye out. Maybe tonight, maybe there will be a leopard or a sneaky cat that comes and takes a drink from the dam. It would be quite nice if that were the case. Because, these lions are not too worried right now. It is actually incredibly nice this afternoon. It is, you can feel the sun burning you a little, but there's still this cool breeze that is pulling through, so it's not too bad. If this were the summer, or in a couple of weeks' time, being just out here under the sun, it would be quite unpleasant, and you'd see the lions struggling and probably heading to a little bit of a thicker area, or where there's more cover than what it is right now. I do love it when they sleep belly up. they look so comfortable. I don't know how, but I can't say that they make it look stylish, because I don't think it's not a really girly position, but they do look, at least they look like they're happy, right? And then the old female keeps yawning. The one that we saw earlier on, that female with without the tip of the tail, they just stood. She also came around and carried on walking, and then she's decided to go lie down next to Darmain. Chris, they look so relaxed, I agree. They really don't have too much to worry about other than finding their next meal, which I think it's going to be sort of like a worry for the future them. You know, it's a future lion problem, not their problem right now. It was also interesting this morning, I didn't get a chance to mention it live, but one of the males was sort of trailing one of the young females. Now, I'm not too sure which one, because with all the commotion and everything else, but he kept sniffing on her behind. So you know, the timing is kind of right. So it could be that one of the younger females is actually starting to come into estrus, potentially, which, you know, would mean that there might be new baby lions soon, or in the next couple of months, because it's a process. It takes some time. Unfortunately, they just can't go to the lion shop and buy new baby lions. Although that would be adorable. Guys, you're really not bothered. All right, I think now that we know where they are, we're going to leave them temporarily, and then we're just going to head to... thank you. You please just stay there. Tell everyone to stand still. We're going to go behind the dam wall, see if perhaps if we scratch around there, if we can find something. Who knows what other... Maybe shashas come back this way. Maybe... Who else could it be? You know, the elusive Malawati could be there. Oh, our good friend Tingy. He's a wild card. He knows this area. Why not? Maybe somebody else has come to say hello. So let's see. Let's go down here. And I'm still counting 9 lions. I'm missing 2. Okay. Maybe they're lying down somewhere. I mean, it is quite possible. Oh, sorry, car. It was a bit of a scratchy moment. Now, try and reverse a million-point turn to get back onto the road the easiest way possible. Hopefully no stumps. We're actually not far from the road. I mean, you can see it right there. So it's very nice when they cooperate with us and they just lie around here. And then where I kind of understood where Lex said that things we're just in this drainage over here. So this, if you carry on going in this direction, then the dam wall is right there. So let's go exploring.
Good afternoon and welcome back on Bushwalk. We're out and about and looking for elephants as well as buffalo and giraffe this afternoon. So yeah, we found some tracks again of buffalo. Some of them look like fresh, although the outer layer of the dung is already dried out. But once we've actually started breaking open the dung, there's still a lot of moisture inside it. It's already cool, and what I normally look for, if this is still nice and warm on the inside, then I know that I'm on track of a group of buffalo that is very, very close by, like I did the other day when we managed to track them down close by to the dam. Here we can see here's some of the tracks. A front foot over here, and then a hind foot directly over here. The hind foot being a little bit more narrow and more pointed compared to the front foot, which is slightly more rounded. It's very likely that these animals were resting up here in the shade at some point and then decided to move on. I'm going to walk around a little bit and see if I can determine in which direction the tracks moved, but it's likely that they've actually gone to one of the closest dams. Quite often on warm days like this is precisely where animals will be heading, because they do need to replenish that moisture that they're losing during the warm, hot parts of the day. Some species, we can also use their level of water dependency to determine when and where we're going to find them at water. Certain species, for example, that we find, like Duiker and Steinbok, which we regard as a water-independent species, tend to very seldom go to water bodies and drink. However, over here, we actually see them every day at the water body. Generally, they will get enough moisture from the food that they consume. Species like buffalo will almost always go and drink every day, and sometimes twice. So does elephant. And then some species of antelope, such as waterbuck, is incredibly water dependent, and we seldom find them, but they're more than 1 to 4 kilometers away from water. We also know that certain species tend to drink more likely in the morning, while other species are more likely to drink in the evening or at night time. So all of those clues can help us to find specific animals.
So success on our side. We did find the tracks going in, we followed it and tried to follow a bit the instruction that Ellie gave me. And we found it. Lying on that termite mound. It's amazing how well they can disappear in the grass. So what happened is that when we came to that area with that false marula on the termite mound, there was one little bird chirping that was not happy. So that was the first sign that we were close. It is my first leopard since I arrived yesterday. So this is very nice. I know that La Lomba can move very fast when she decides to move, but now I think it's quite warm. She might just sit here in the shade. I don't see the kill though. Might be on the other side. This leopard can move a lot. I saw near Twin Dam before, on Zoe's Road, and now we are at the border of Djuma and Bushwalk, north of the reserve. So generally males have bigger territories than female, but females can have big territories as well. Malcolm, you're asking if I think leopards struggle to climb trees when they get older. Yeah, I don't think so. If we look at Tingana, the sighting I got the last time, Tingana is quite old, and he was on the tree with a kill. It was not a big tree, and there was lots of leaf on the tree, so it was quite comfortable. Yeah, but definitely if they start having an injury, oh, look at that. If they start having an injury, they might struggle, but generally they're expert at climbing trees, so they have very strong shoulders. As soon as I say them, she might stay here in the shade and look like she wants to be active or lie again, I'm not sure. I'm just going to stay quiet a little while and let you enjoy. It's a bit sad that she turned her face there. Look at that tail. To come back to that question, obviously also when they get old they're quite heavy. But they're also still very strong. I never, me on my side, heard about a leopard struggling climbing trees, even if they were old. Might happen, I'm not sure. But also you have to remember they're used also to climb trees with prey such as up to 60 kilograms. So if they don't have any prey with them, they easily can climb the trees, even if you're quite old. It does happen sometimes that you find a leopard and you see only the tip of the tail. it is quite a frustrating time. But with leopard, you have to have patience and wait. Debbie, you're asking if it's possible to have another unseen leopard in the area. Yes, definitely. Might be two leopards in the same area. We had that a few times. Me, from my experience, for example, we were watching Tingana looking at something to hunt, and there was Samba on the other side of the drainage line, and both of them was in the same area. So me, I'm not the specialist at recognizing Talamba yet. I did look a bit and I see it's a 5-5. So I assume because she was seen this morning here that it is still her. And also I did check a bit, it looked like might be still her, of course. But it can happen that sometimes it's a different leopard that come in the area, especially when there's a kill, and push the other leopard away. Fortunately, she did lie down now. We might have to reposition a bit later, because we can't really see her now. I think if she was lying like that when we came in the area, we might have missed her. I'm just waiting a little while, see if she's going to move again. Otherwise we will reposition. It's a good advantage spot for her as well. She's a bit high, so she can look for prey. Okay, on our side we'll try to reposition. In the meantime, we'll send you to Ali to see what she's up to.
Well, to be honest, I'm not too sure what we're up to. We're looking for a potentially dead animal and the potential predator that might be eating it. So we were just following on the reports given to us that earlier on today somebody heard sort of the distress calls of a diker in this particular area. So because it's been quite windy and it's fairly cool, there's a possibility that the noise traveled a little bit further than it normally would, but we've been sort of checking behind the dam wall and we haven't come across basically any signs of anything, but I hear some eagles up ahead. So I wonder, let's just go in there and then just maybe see. It's just a little bit tricky at the moment because it's nice and thick in here, so we just want to go slowly to make sure that there's not a stump like the one in front of me that will prevent me from going places where I want to go. So I suppose we're gonna have to go the other way around. Let's see. I mean, I'm just kind of hoping for any sign, even like an alarm call from another animal. Ooh. I'm not sure we can get out of here. So while I try to figure that out, let's go back to Cedric, who has a leopard indeed.
Yeah, much better where we are now. So we were on the other side of the termite mound, so we came around. She didn't move on the side, but we did move, and now it's much better. It is a beautiful shot. So obviously it is important for me to spend some time with leopard, because specific leopard, I mean, more you spend time with them, more you start to learn about them. Yeah, so for example, every time you see a leopard, you try to make a little bit of research on it if you're not familiar with that leopard. So what I say is that Lalamba was born in November 2017, and the mother is Dondi, but I'm sure all of you knows that. I'm just doing my little research to remember in the future. So it says also there that the father is Tingana. I did struggle for a while to see Tingana, but the last week I was there, I had a nice sighting with him. Obviously, when it's hot like that, they're not very active, but it can happen during the day that you found a leopard mobile, even if it's warm. Looks like she's not very comfortable there, so she might move a bit again. But there's something in that direction, as you can see, that's bothering her, or maybe she's interested in. But it looks like she's a bit on edge. Might be another leopard around, but the lions also are not very far. They're not in this direct area, but they're in the straight line, not that far. But obviously she can't see the lions from here, it's a bit further down. Would be nice if there's another leopard coming to join. Oh. What a nice shot. I love when a leopard look at you like that. This is amazing. Okay, so we're going to stay with her. In the meantime, we'll send you to Phinda.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, where you'll notice we've come across some Impala. They're actually slowly moving off to our right. They were a little bit in front of us. And in shot there, you'll just see a big ram. My name is Dean, and behind the camera we've got Owen this afternoon. It's a lovely sunny day, quite windy, and the wind's been pumping all afternoon. And you'll notice the Impalas have slowly now moved off into a thicker, area. And basically what they're looking to do is try and get out of the wind. You can imagine how all their senses would be affected by this wind that's blowing across. Looks like they've gone off into that thicket there. We're actually following some leopard tracks. And that was the plan, or still is the plan for this afternoon. You'll notice in front of us the road is quite rocky, quite hard. Makes tracking a little bit tricky. But hopefully, like Cedric, we managed to find a leopard. We also are slowly heading into the area where lions were seen earlier this morning with Damon on drive. So hopefully we find at least one of the cats this afternoon. But I think in the meantime, you head over to Cedric and his leopard.
Yeah, she looks a little bit more sleepy now. She didn't move at all, but she does look a bit uncomfortable there. So I'm not sure if she's being lazy and she doesn't want to move in a better position, but for us it is actually very nice where she is now. Yeah, so I was saying earlier that male territories are bigger than female territories. I was talking about that because Talamati can move quite a lot on Djuma. You can see her in different parts of the reserve. Obviously, The male choose their territory according to the numbers of female around and also the availability of food. But the female will choose territory for the food, obviously. There's a lot of food around, but also if there's good den site for when they have cubs. Yeah, so the territories of leopard can vary between 5 to 100 kilometers. Yeah, sorry, I got a bit confused there. I was saying, yeah, the territory can vary from 5 square kilometers to 100 square kilometers. But generally it will be around 15 square kilometers. For example, last time I saw Tingana, it was in Chitwa, and a few days after that I saw on social media that he was on another property even more south. Yeah, so sorry, I'm just checking if my mic is okay there. Hopefully the sound was good when I was... Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so Tingana was seen like further south, so they can move a lot. Tingana like to go close to camp as well, where we stay. I'm not sure if... La Lomba have been safe. Sorry, we're just having a little issue with our microphone here. Hopefully it is better now. Yeah, so she was like looking in the southern direction, but she seems to have lost interest now. Look like she might want to sleep. But I'm sure later on, if the kill is finished, because I don't see any sign of the kill, she might start moving around. But the thing is that when she starts moving, she can move quite fast, and that block is very, very thick. So it will be quite difficult to follow her, I guess. Just a sleepy cat. What they generally like to do during the day. I saw leopards mating only once, I think, or twice. No, I think only once. It was quite amazing to see. Can get a bit aggressive between each other, especially just after mating, and they will mate for quite a long time. When I mean a long time, it will be quite a long affair, so between 2 to 5 days. And they might mate every 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so we're going to still stay with her and see what she does.
The Masai Mara in Kenya is an iconic wilderness filled with life. Its inspirational beauty has captivated our hearts on WildEarth for many years. While this season of the world's greatest migration has been missed, WildEarth is preparing a spectacular comeback in 2022. For the first time ever, WildEarth will be running expeditions to Kenya's Masai Mara throughout the 2022 migration season. Hosted by David Githu and Isaac Rotich, you could be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration with the world, live on WildEarth's daily safaris. If you're interested, then head over to our website to find out more.
I think sometimes you need just to listen. So it's a kind of taking out all that other spirit and bring back wilderness and healthy. Bushwalk and trek and sign. I'm sure I'm good at that. I spend most of my time on the ground since I was a young boy, so I think I'm good with that. Actually, I'm not much nervous of any category. Just take it as it is. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on what the judges are looking at. So chances are 50-50 on my side. I'm not... Obviously, when you go for a competition, you say you win.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth.
Welcome back, everyone, to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, as we are continuing our search for a leopard. We came across a small herd of zebra, and if you have a look to the right of that adult there, you'll see a tiny little zebra foal there. It was actually suckling only a moment ago. I'm hoping it's going to come out into the open and we can get a better view. There we go. That is too cute. It's amazing to see the fine detail in the pattern on the face of that young one. Still even borderline a little bit unsteady on its feet, so I would say that little zebra's probably close to around 4 months, maybe 3 months old. As I said, it was suckling a bit earlier, so it still hasn't been weaned. They normally weaned at about 8-9 months, maybe 10 months old, so definitely under that. Oh, there they go off behind the cover. As I mentioned earlier, it's quite a windy day, so a lot of the animals will stick to these thicker areas and try and get out of the wind. That's what those impalas did earlier, and it's what these zebras are doing now. Beautiful view of the southern part of the reserve. As we continue with our search for our leopard, you're going to head over to Cedric, who's still with us.
Yeah, she did move a little bit, unfortunately, so she's a little bit eaten now. But it is still quite a good visual. I just hope that she move her head a little bit, that we can see her face. Yeah, I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay with her. Did see her quite well. We might go drive around not too far from here and see if there's anything else, and maybe come back a bit later, and hopefully she will still be here. It looked like she wanted to make the round of that termite mound. When we arrived, she was on the other side, and slowly she's moving around. You can see the heavy breathing now. Might be a bit full, and also it is hot. One other road she liked to do as well, it's to walk towards Galagopan and then go on Zoe's road. This is maybe the path she will take later. I'm not sure from where she did came from, but yeah, maybe have a drink at Galagopan. There's Tamboti Dam actually is very close to here, on the Buffelshoek side. So they get lots of moisture from the meat they eat, but they will have to drink some water as well. It is amazing to spend time with leopards. They are so beautiful. And what I like also is more you spend time with them, more you start to learn about them and their behaviors. So it's very nice. Megan, I'm not sure if I got the name right. You're asking if leopards spend more time on the ground than they do on trees. Yes, they spend more time on the ground. The reason is that they will mainly and mostly hunt from the ground, and also they move quite a lot. They will be on trees, however, when they have a kill, for example. They will put the kill in the tree just for the other predators to not steal the kill, such as lions or hyenas. But also it can happen that they just go lie in a tree to sleep, because they will be protected and more safe in the tree if they want to sleep. But now she's lying in the grass. She feels very safe here. Also, she will not go lie on the tree at the moment if she doesn't have a kill in the tree, I assume, because it is hot and most of the trees doesn't have leaves anymore. So she would have been lying in the sun, which is not comfortable at this time of the day. But to answer your question, yeah, they spend more time on the ground. And they will be in trees to rest or when they have a kill. Saying that though, it has been reported that some leopard who stays in areas where there's no other predators very rarely bring their kill in the trees because they don't need to do so. For example, there's no hyenas or lions who will come to steal the prey. Obviously, the best picture is to see a leopard in the tree. It's very nice. I think what? Sorry, I got a question. Didn't get it very nicely. Oh. Oh, Randa, you're asking at what age a female leopard can start to have babies. Yeah, we can start mating as soon as around 2 years old. Generally, it's a bit later, though. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 2 years old. So it is quite young. And obviously, we can have babies quite a few times, depending how successful they are with the cubs, actually. But yeah. Generally, they will stay with the mother, the cubs, between 18 months to 2 years, and then start wandering alone and try to set up a territory. So 2 years will be quite still a bit early to have babies, cubs I mean, but then as soon as they start setting a territory and look for male leopard to mate. So for example, Kalamba is what now, 4 years old? Yeah, she will be 4 years old if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if she's mated yet and if she got cubs yet. So yeah, I said 2 years old, but it can be, but it will be a little bit later. Seeing leopard cubs is really adorable. You don't see them every day, obviously, especially when they are very young, the mother like to hide them, but it is very, very cute. I was lucky enough to have a few sightings of young leopard cubs. Jacqueline, you're asking for how long a leopard will leave the cubs for. I assume you're asking if they want to go hunt or go drink some water or walk around. This is the question. Yeah, can be a couple. Yeah, not too long actually, because the cubs still need to suckle, so they will leave the den and go hunt because obviously they need to eat. Yeah, I'm not sure for how long exactly, but it can be a day, maybe longer. Lots of animals does that. Not only the predators, but also the nyalas as antelope. They will just hide their young and just move around to feed and then come back a couple of days later. But obviously with mammals such as leopard and lions, the cubs are really dependent on the mother. So they can't leave them too long, especially because cubs need to drink as well, some milk. But they will definitely leave them and go hunt because they have to feed as well. And this is where it gets very dangerous for the cubs, because if lions or hyenas find the cubs, unfortunately they will definitely kill the cubs. Also, for a female leopard, she will not be able to defend too much the cubs if a lion comes close, so she will have to hide the cubs very well. I never saw another predator kill leopard cubs, and I don't really want to see it, but it is part of nature. Okay, I think we'll maybe go drive around here if she's done moving and if we don't get a better visual. See if there's anything else, and of course maybe later come check on her again.
Well, we've carried on the search in the deep dark Malawati. But it doesn't seem like it's yielded any results. Like I said, it's a little bit hard because we didn't hear where the sound was coming from. The other guy is checking up on the area where he thinks the sound might have come from, so he's just around there, and I'm sure if he does come across something, he'll let us know.
Yeah, I will be leaving.
We were kind of hoping that perhaps the Ngala would tell us where it was, because sometimes there was a grey go-away bird that was alarming earlier. So we just sort of came and investigated where he was, see if we could find something there, and not much. And then the Ngala's here, he's pretty chilled. So often with antelope, when they see a potential predator, like a lion or a leopard, they'll make an alarm call, and that sounds like a bark, almost like a dog barking. It's just basically to let the predator know that they've been spotted and that it's pretty pointless to pursue the hunt, because the antelope already know that they're there. It's almost like, game over, I've seen you. And then more often than not, then the animals just move off because they know they've been spotted, and they're not going to have a good chance of actually catching that particular animal. So also this morning we had the lions and then the impala all around. The impala were just going crazy, making that alarm call that sounds almost like that. And then the lions eventually sort of lie down for a bit and then moved off and then carried on. We also were hoping that if we switched off the car in here, perhaps we could hear, you know, some crunching of bones or another antelope, maybe a squirrel alarming or something along those lines. But it seems like it's pretty quiet in here. As you can see, not much happening. So we're just gonna have a listen for the next sort of 30 seconds or so. And then if there's nothing around here, we're just gonna go back to the lion and see what they're up to, because it'll be nice if they start moving a little bit earlier today.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. We're still out and about and looking for giraffe, elephants as well as buffalo. There's quite a lot of activity in the area. We decided to come down from the ridge and come and see what's happening at the water, as it was quite quiet up there. So on a warm day like this, if you do approach a water body, you want to be incredibly cautious by looking into the shaded spots in front of you. That's most likely where a potential predator or dangerous animal will be resting up. Predators for basically ambushing potential prey animals that will come to the water, and then prey animals and other species just resting in the shade so that they can escape the heat and conserve some energy. Let's go a little bit closer and go and see what's going on in the dam. Especially on warm days like today, it's maybe worthwhile sitting around here for a little bit and see if there's any animals coming down for a drink. So some of the other stuff that we also do is when we approach waterholes is to actually look at what tracks are coming in and out of a waterhole. This will also give you an indication of which animals might be in the area, especially if there's a set of fresh tracks. Well, we're going to go and find ourselves a little shady spot where we can go and sit and look what's going on around us. In the meanwhile, let's go and see what Ali is up to.
I'm leaving Mafazing right now. I'm just like your location, please.
I'm just going with the Ngala. They're on close to the dam wall in Central. Yes, sorry guys, I'm just...
Check maybe the areas or move in that area.
Okay, copy. Sorry guys, just trying to coordinate with Cedric where he is, where we are, and where we're going and where he's going. Because the idea would generally be that he'll go into an area and then I'll go into a different one, so we can cover different areas instead of both of us being in the same place and looking at the same thing. It seems a little bit pointless to do it that way. So now that he's left Lalamba, I think he mentioned that his plan is to head towards Bushwalk Dam, and then we're going to come back to the lions. Hopefully maybe they'll be a little bit more active, although I'm not 100% sure, although I don't know why I took the low range off, because I'm going to need it just now. So we left them right about here somewhere on the one tree. I think it was that marula tree somewhere in there, so we're just going to go double check, see if the lions are around there. I suspect they will be, if I can find them again. And then we'll take it from there. Hopefully they will be around and they'll start moving soon enough. Like I said, it would be wonderful if they all came down and had a drink. I mean, the dam is the closest water hole to them, so it would stand to reason that once they get up and then they start moving, that they would go there rather than going somewhere else. There's Bushwalk Dam also, but that is quite a distance away. It's a bit of a walk, so I mean, I suppose if they really want to, they can go there. They're going to be thirstier by the time they get there. Now I've just got to remember which tree it is that we left them in, which is proving to be a bit of a challenge. But it was somewhere around here, so I'm sure we'll be able to get them eventually. Alrighty. Was it maybe that tree? No. Further that way? Yeah, I also think so. Seems like Dean is also trying to search for lions, so let's head over to Phinda and hopefully find them with them. Oh, I think...
Everyone, welcome to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. We are searched for ideally leopard, but might have switched to lion. We've lost the tracks of the leopard. It's sort of cut off into the thick bush. It's quite a rocky area, so it makes it a little bit tricky. But we did pick up a single lioness, tracks of a single lioness going up this road also. That's what we're focusing on at the moment. Often they'll use roads like this when they're trying to get somewhere, where they're not too worried about their cover being blown. They'll use roads and they'll use game paths also. In the meantime, you can head over to Elish and see how her search for the lions is going.
Well, thankfully we did find them again. Just had to find the tallest tree. So we've got the young female that it was the first one that we've seen this afternoon, and then if you see further behind towards the tree, that's dark mane, the dominant male around there, just lying down. I think he started off completely in the shade of the tree, and now as the sun has been shifting, well, and so has the shade, and he might just get a bit of a foot tan over there. And then as we arrived, there was another male also that was kind of moving around, and then he just went and lied there. So they're not, this is not a proper lion slumber. There's too many things at play here, and in general, and hopefully you'll stick around to watch the show in the summertime, but when you see lions sleeping, they tend to just sleep. They don't raise their heads, they don't look at you, they just ignore you flat out. But these guys are pretty alert, all things considered, and we've had a couple of the females with their heads up, stretching, moving, changing positions, going to find new shade. So I think there's something out here that's, it's keeping them a little bit less relaxed than they normally would. And I think it would be a good inference if we were to say that they were somewhere else and then they heard whatever it is that it was being killed potentially, and then that got their attention, and then they decided to move back onto this area. So like I was just saying earlier, it seems like they've just gone back completely the way that they've came, which is not the usual thing for lions, unless of course there's some sort of hunting opportunity. But this was basically kind of backtracking to where the guys said that the noise was. So it'll be interesting. Maybe later on tonight they'll bump into somewhere, or they'll take us and we'll all bump into something that they know it's here, or they suspect that it's here and we don't. I mean, even around the lodge and behind the dam wall where we checked, this is quite open, the area where the lions are in, but behind there are rocks, there are trees, more bushes, more vegetation, clumps of trees, thickets, so it's a little bit harder to actually find anything in there. We did check properly, because I mean, I've had Tingana in there before. I think a couple of years back he had a kill behind the dam wall, and I know numerous leopards throughout the years have used the dam wall, and even the Talamatis themselves. We had them. We were here on a safari in June, I want to say, and it was on that side event where the young hyena was killed, and it was just also behind the dam wall. So seems like a lot of things happen behind the curtain. But for now, I'll just enjoy the sleeping lions. Angie, the biggest pride that I've ever come across was a pride in the southern Sabi sand called the Southern Pride. And at one stage there were 20-odd leopards. Can you imagine a pride of 20 leopards? 20-odd lions. And it was quite incredible because they were very territorial, and I just remember for the longest time sticking my head out the window like at 3 o'clock in the morning just to try and determine where they were roaring from. It was a very nice pride to witness or to spend time with, because like I said, when you had them walking down the road, I mean, it's double as much as the ones that we've seen here today, and when you see them walking down a road, it's pretty cool. And when they roar, then the world ends. That is the single most fascinating thing that lions do, is the way they roar. And I'm pretty sure we've got to thank Darkmane and all his roaring that brought the Talamatis back, because apparently he was incessant last night. I think he kept half of the camps awake, just by roaring. But it worked out, because then the Talamatis obviously heard him all the way across from the Malawati, and then they came back. So, in a way, thank you, Darkmane, for bringing them back. Doesn't always necessarily work that way. A lot of the times when lions call one another, and I've seen them do it before, we'll just ignore them and be like, no, not today. And then they just carry on with their day. But who knows, maybe they were not successful in their hunting attempts in Malawati, and then they've decided to come back to this area. It's quite crazy that we find them now, the Talamatis, in the middle of Djuma, when 2-3 years ago it was the Nkahuma Pride, the one that we would have seen here regularly, and 5 years before that it would have been the Styx Pride, who, funny enough, has also made their way down to the southern Sabi sand. It's fascinating dynamics over the years. Darkmane, you're looking a little bit on the hungry side, more so than everybody else. They're breathing quite quickly still, or she's breathing quite quickly. I think she's still quite hot, trying to cool herself down. Although she's lying in the shade, so...
RSA has a long history, over 90 years, of being involved and even pioneering aspects of the conservation sector in South Africa. Over that long history, we have realized that all of the issues that we are facing both locally and globally are due to human impact. Therefore, we need to concentrate on working with people, and that is what WESA does. What makes me passionate about the work that we do at WESA, and in particular the work that I engage in, is actually connecting with people. Currently the work that I'm working on is working with youth in a skills development program, and just to meet the youth and to hear their stories and to bring them opportunities that we hope will have some impact on their lives really, really fuels me to get up every morning. A huge shout out to the women that I work with, as well as to all the women that are contributing hugely within the environmental sector, both in South Africa and in the world.
And I turned to Shaw and I saw that she had this panicked look on her face. Either she was afraid that something had happened or she was afraid that she was going to miss out on something. But instead of her missing out on those lions, we drove up next to them and I switched off the car so that she could hear what was going on. Now, these lions had killed a kudu, and she could hear these two cubs, both 8 months old at the time, busy pushing and shoving each other out the way to get to the best parts of the meat. And the mom was lying just to the side in the shade. Now, I'd known that before losing her sight, Sean probably knew what a lion looked like. But I really wanted her to know what this lion looked like. So for the first time in my guiding career, I started to describe to someone what a lion looked like. And I found that, I started to notice things in that lion that I'd never seen before.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is the call of desperation with the cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oof.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Well, happy to report that the Lion Patrol is still on duty. Nothing too much happening here just yet. I think maybe they don't move in the next little while. We'll go do a loop, go see what's happening at the dam, because I'm sure there should be some life taking advantage of the fact that it's a nice hot day. Maybe they'll come down for a drink. Actually hoping elephants will come down for a drink, because it's pretty nice to spend time with elephants in water. The other day we had that very nice sighting of all of them mud wallowing and then scratching their ears and bums against the sandbank. But lions, on the other hand, look at them in all their glory. It's always, with lions though, and I think leopards to an extent, you've just also always got to be patient, because while they might not be moving now, and sometimes, yes, it can be tedious just to spend time with sleeping animals in general. If you wait for them to wake up and then start doing something, more often than not, then it's a good reward. So I think it's just another one of those wise teachings of the more time you spend in nature, you learn just to be a little bit more patient, and then it's not the constant, it's very in contrast with nowadays with the, what's the word I'm looking for? The instant gratification that we get through all of the social media channels, basically. Here is just more like, nope, you wait. You go back to basics and you let them do it on their time. So if you want to actually see them do something nice, something different than sleeping, then you've got to spend some time with them and you've got to put in the work. Because at the end of the day, it's really worth trying to keep yourself entertained while watching sleeping lions. Well, they seem a little bit more settled now. I think my hopes of them moving and heading to the dam soon are starting to dwindle. It's a very peaceful scene. And funny enough, when we were driving out earlier, we were talking about the road being right there next to us. But in this case, it just goes to show why sometimes it's easier, in a sense, to have sightings of different species of animals in the wild, just because of the ability of off-roading. Also, and well, despite the fact also that the animals are obviously used to the vehicles and so on. But if we couldn't off-road the sort of, 10, 15 meters that we've off-roaded, we wouldn't have been able to see, or we wouldn't be able to see these lions, and we wouldn't have these nice views that we do of them. So perhaps we would have missed them altogether. So it's in areas like, Phinda, Ngala, and Djuma, and all of the reserves that we traverse, that we've got this added benefit that's, can be challenging, maneuvering around the bushes and going bundu bashing, but at the end of the day, it tends to be always rewarding. There's a grey go-away bird in the distance. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it. It's the one going, wee! And it's called a grey go-away bird because it kind of sounds like it's saying go away. Perhaps shouldn't be the ambassador of the country. Don't think diplomacy would end up that well. Spend a few more minutes here with these guys, see what they get up to, but in the meantime, let's head over to JP and see what he's up to.
Hunter's Moon is mobile. Are there any updates?
Welcome back to Bushwalk. So one of the most difficult things for us to actually capture on camera is actually birds. And we were just watching a southern black flycatcher. Unfortunately, on the last moment, he flew off just as the cameras came to us. It's one of my favorite little birds, and it's one of the reasons why I find it such a fascinating little bird is that it actually mimics the plumage of a more aggressive fork-tailed drongo. That's actually a very timid bird, and it doesn't necessarily attack or aggravate any other birds such as fork-tailed drongos would do. So what you also often will find is that they will therefore be overseen by more aggressive birds, as they will think that it's an aggressive fork-tailed drongo. So some of the features, how they differ, is the fork-tailed drongo has got a deeply forked tail, and within the next few weeks they'll most likely start developing a double fork when they're going in the tail, when they start going into breeding plumage. Just something interesting that you can look out for. The other feature how they differ is that they're slightly larger and that they've got red eyes. And unlike the southern black flycatcher, which has got a straight bill, they've got a bill with a tiny little notch in, which is also hooked at the tip. There's also a third bird species which is quite often confused with these other two birds, and that's known as a black cuckoo-shrike. These birds, however, have got little yellow spots on the shoulders and little pieces of yellow at the base of the gape. However, the yellow on the shoulder patches is not always present with all individuals. They also tend to differ in behavior by sitting quite high up on the top of trees generally, compared to where the other two species will be either on the ground or fairly low down on the sides of trees, or in the case of a fork-tailed drongo, also often following a number of different animals as if they're busy feeding. Hopefully in the next few weeks we will start seeing more and more of the migrant birds coming back, and we've already noticed a number of them that has already arrived. So we're going to move on, and in the meanwhile we're going to provide you with some clips on the Mara. Let's go and see what they have on offer for next year's tour.
The Masai Mara in Kenya is an iconic wilderness filled with life. Its inspirational beauty has captivated our hearts on WildEarth for many years. While this season of the world's greatest migration has been missed, WildEarth is preparing a spectacular comeback in 2022. For the first time ever, WildEarth will be running expeditions to Kenya's Masai Mara throughout the 2022 migration season. Hosted by David Githu and Isaac Rotich, you could be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration with the world, live on WildEarth's daily safaris. If you're interested, then head over to our website to find out more.
Yeah, this Mara expedition sounds amazing. Never been there. Really want to try to go there one day. Still on my bucket list. Yeah, but on our side, we did leave Tlalomba. We're currently on Chitakat line, making our way slowly to go check Chitwa Dam. And now we just saw that little Steinbok. Yesterday we had quite an unusual sighting of a Steinbok. He had only 1 ear. So he probably lost the second ear. Not this one obviously, it's the one we saw yesterday. but I had no idea how can that have happened. Maybe, well, I don't know, maybe a leopard tried to kill it, or it was quite weird to see a Steinbok with only 1 year. Yeah, so I think our plan now is to go check Chitwa Dam, maybe do a bit of birding there, and if we are lucky, maybe my ribs is around there. Would be very nice to see him. As you know, we know that he likes Chitwa. But apart from that, just check around. And maybe later on, when it gets a little bit quieter at Talamati sighting, if she's still there, we can head back there. So leopard like to hunt Steinbok as well, but they are quite fast little animals, so the leopards will have to come quite close to them. But it's often, you often see leopards with a Steinbok kill. They are very cute. I am quite excited to go to Chitwa Dam actually. I really like that dam. She's walking away from us now, it is a bit far. Maybe let's try to get closer. Only thing I'm a bit scared, if I get too close sometimes we just start running. So you're asking what is the Steinbok truck similar to? Let's say like a diker, but a little bit smaller. It is like, let's say, a small version of an Impala, if I may say that, because they are very, very tiny trucks. Actually, I never spend the time looking for Steinbok truck. I know that JP in Pride Lands is very good with trucks, such as small antelopes. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so it's like a little triangle, but very small. Okay, so I think we will leave it be and continue. So one thing which is quite funny with Steinbok is that they like to cover their dung. So they are very small droppings, and which is similar to a diker. But sorry about that. But the difference is that the Steinbok will dig a little hole and cover the dung, and the diker will not do that. So if you see very small dropping, it might be for diker, because you will not see the one Steinbok. So one reason why they do that is because they are ashamed of the size of their dung. No, I'm joking. I'm not sure why they do that, but yeah. It's quite amazing though.
So we could hear guinea fowl alarm calling, and it's almost sounded like it was coming from the open area in front of the lodge around the dam. So just thought we'd come here. I can hear them now again. But no. No, it's kind of their normal clucking. I don't think they're too far, so we just thought we would come here just to explore a little bit. There's definitely something around, or something else if the guinea fowl are alarming and if the lions moved around, so, but not too sure what it is. Definitely not the hippo though. Guinea fowl wouldn't alarm at a hippo. It's not one of their particular enemies. And I think this hippo's got the right idea of just being in the water and enjoying the afternoon. You can just plug it. Where's the guinea fowl in front of us?
Welcome back on Bushwalk. We're out and about and we're still looking for our large animals such as buffalo, giraffe, as well as elephant this afternoon. And meanwhile, we started to look at a number of warthog tracks. So we've got two different sets over here, one that's heading straight towards the west and the other set heading east. I'm going to start off with this little set over here. Here we can see 1, 2, 3 parts to the toe. But what we also notice over here is dew claws that are marking. So generally what we will see is that its hoof is evenly splitted. But over here, it's stepped on one of the other feet, creating the impression that there's 3 individual parts to a foot, which often leads to guides misinterpreting this as a track of a aardvark, which generally displays 3 toes. And when it comes to deep mud, they might actually show 5 toes in total. Just to show you these little dew claws again, this is something that normally doesn't mark when it comes to soft soil. And I've noticed with this specific individual, he's marking with the dew claws the whole time. And sometimes it's only one of the dew claws that we're marking in the soil. If this was a bushbeck, these little dew claws would have been more center with the track. But with warthog, it's slightly off center and further apart from the outside of section of where the hoof is marking. We also find if this was a bushpig, this section over here in the front would have been more open. We often compare it to the leaf shape of a mopani, which has got 2 individual butterfly-shaped leaflets, which is very open to the front. And then over here, there's our normal track going into this direction. And there's no dew claws displaying in these little tracks over here. And once again, you can clearly see that it's closed in the front and not open in this section as it would be with bushbeck.
Well, we did find the culprit guinea fowl that were alarm calling, but not at the hippo or us. They were on the ground walking away from the dam. So I can hear them every now and again in the distance. It's just the one, the troublemaker, or the false alarmist. There's one in every group, just causing chaos for everybody else. And they've sort of since left the waterhole, so I think whatever it was that they've seen, perhaps his wings. Guinea fowl tend to alarm from the ground when it's an aerial predator, and then if it were a leopard that is perhaps stalking them, then they tend to go on branches of the trees or on top of a tree where it's harder for the leopard to get to them. It would actually be quite incredible one day to see a guinea fowl and not an oxpecker on top of a hippo. We see the oxpeckers often flying. Oh, sorry, hippo. Flying and then landing on top of the hippos or the hippos' heads and then using them as platforms to go and drink some water. It is quite funny. I've never seen a guinea fowl do that, also because they wouldn't necessarily fly into the middle of a dam to go land on a hippo. It's just not something that they do when they can just drink from the side. I suspect they're too big from that, and the hippo wouldn't be too happy to have them on top of them.
There's a monitor lizard.
A monitor lizard. Let's see, must I get it out of, I'm gonna try and get out of the way. It seems like there's a monitor lizard. A live monitor lizard, not like the unfortunate dead one that we had the other day. A water monitor lizard. And the little one that we had a couple of days ago was on a road not too far from here. I mean, it would still be far, but I suspect it was a different species of monitor lizard than the one that we've got around here. You see this one's got a lot of sort of yellow to it. And this fallen over tree and all the debris that's been caught around here and the branches that are in this area actually form a really good nesting site for them, or not a really good nesting site, but rather a good place for them to come and hide, and for the little ones to also come and hide during the day, just in case there are any predators that are lurking out there to come and eat them. I mean, I've seen on the odd occasion reports of leopards actually eating guinea fowl, but one of their main predators are actually martial eagles. They tend to come and enjoy monitor lizard meat. What can I say? Apparently it tastes very nice. They look quite serious. I wouldn't mess with them. I was also saying the other day that perhaps the biggest asset of a monitor lizard, it's not their big claws that they've got, but rather their bite. They've got quite a powerful bite. And I've seen more than one person getting caught on, especially a few guides out there, a few boys that, want to show off how big and strong they are. And then they grab the monitor lizard by the wrong spot. And then when they bite, they tend not to let go. It is a little bit on the funny and worrying side at the same time, because obviously it's quite painful. We're talking about oxpeckers. I can hear them in the distance now. I wonder if they're going to come and land on the hippo. Maybe not yet. Maybe it's a little too early for them to come and have a drink. It's funny how much life there is around the dam today. Yesterday afternoon, when it was quite windy, we went around a couple of times, and we even went to Chitwa Dam. And there were the usual suspects, the Egyptian geese, and then of course the crocodiles and the hippo, but it just felt a lot quieter than today. At least today it seems like the birds are chirping. You can see a few of the herons in the background kind of wading through, the impala coming down for a drink. So overall it's quite a peaceful scene. Obviously with the hippo halfway immersed. Almost like an ostrich. He's actually got kind of like, it almost seems like, well, the tip of his nose, and then at one point even his eyes seemed that they were underwater, but the rest of his body was outside. Seems like we've got a few fish jumping around, maybe some barbel around here. There we go. Hello, oxpecker. We've been hearing you and waiting for you to come down for a drink. Okay, fair enough. But if you would do it this side, we would appreciate it. I think it's just busy trying to call the other ones. Wouldn't be surprised if the rest of the flock comes down. You see, the hippo's not, I mean, he can obviously hear it and it can feel it on top of him, but it's not particularly worried about the oxpecker. I've obviously got a bit of a symbiotic relationship, and oxpeckers might just try to get some of the ticks that are perhaps behind their ears in the process, and then they'll just go for a drink and then fly off and leave the hippo by itself. Won't bother them too much. So we're gonna go from a rock-looking creature to a rocky place somewhere in South Africa. Let's head all the way down to Cape Town and hear what Trishala's plans are for the afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have here a cormorant. Now, the thing is that, we also have a train going by. I'm sorry, guys, but hopefully you'll only hear the sound of the ocean. But this cormorant may be a crowned cormorant, which is amazing if it is, because they are rare. It's me, Trishala, by the way. I've got Jason on camera with me, and we're exploring some of the tidal pools in St. James on the coast this afternoon. Very, very exciting. The sea is much calmer than it has been the last couple days, but you can see I still have my jacket on because the breeze is a little cool. But let's have a look back at this cormorant. So the crowned cormorant is possible to see here, and it has this crest towards the front of its head. Ooh. And it's got usually a really red eye. Now, I can't see from here whether it has the red eye, or perhaps maybe it's just got a hairdo for the afternoon. And you can see that crest is lying flat at the moment, and with the crowned cormorants, their crest can lie flat. But like I said, it is rare to uncommon to see a crowned cormorant. So I hope that you guys got a good shot of it, like I said to you. I haven't had a chance to replace my binoculars that took a walk just yet. But that is awesome. I also see some oyster catchers flying behind me, which is just wonderful. And of course there's lots and lots of rock pools as well. Just kind of on this end of me, and I'm sitting on this lichen covered rock. I do like lichen, don't I? I thought I was being smart, but then I wasn't. I was just speaking. So if you'll have a look, I'm not sure if you can see, there's some rocks that are very, very, very submerged, or pretty much getting submerged every time that the wave is going over. And there seems to be lots and lots of mussels on it. And 2 oyster catchers, African black oyster catchers. Having a really great time, I'm sure. They have a very robust bill that can pry open mussels, get in between the grooves, grab anything else that's gotten caught in these mussel beds. You can see how extensive those mussel beds are as well. Look at them having a go. I love seeing them. I always see them in pairs doing their thing. You can see they don't mind the water at all, which makes sense because they're seabirds, right? Or birds that you see near the sea a lot anyway. You might see them taking mussels, limpets, basically mollusks that they can find in these areas attached to rock, and they have quite a strategy. So limpets will use properties and their teeth to hold on firmly to a rock once they've been disturbed. So what the oyster catchers do will actually kind of surprise attack the limpet by not touching it until the very moment that they have to put all their force into the pushing, and then they get them free. Oh, aren't they cuties? Looks like they're coming towards me. This is wonderful. Well, the tide seems to be going up a little bit, so we're going to spend some time now exploring the tide pools.
Hi, we are Yaku and Malawati. We are from Gauteng in South Africa. We started watching WildEarth last year during the level 5 lockdown, and we've been watching ever since.
Being in nature is one of the greatest feelings. We absolutely love it. Our favorite thing about WildEarth is that the concept is so amazing. We have the benefit of having a wildlife safari in the comfort of your home, especially when you're not allowed to go out. Being part of the Wildlife Explorer program gives us a sense of giving back and contributing to nature. It just makes us feel good because we love it so much. We are so excited to be visiting Ngala. It is obviously, I think for most people, an absolute dream to visit the Masai Mara. We can't wait to go.
Thank you very much for this amazing prize, WildEarth.
WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
Here at the Advanced Rifle Handling Challenge, which is actually lots of challenges in one to gauge the contestants' skills at different distances and different speeds. This is probably the challenge that the contestants are the most nervous about. So let's get them locked and loaded. The competitors are now doing the Hades halt, where they have to run back and forth to a target, turn, take aim, and shoot. And this simulates a chase in a real environment and gets the heart pumping and the blood pressure up. James gave us a demonstration, and the skill involved in this exercise is remarkable.
Welcome back everyone to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, where We haven't been on for quite a while. We're struggling to track down some lions. We're now on the western side of the reserve. And how's that for a view? And some of the eagle-eyed viewers might spot something at the bottom, sort of middle of the screen.
Number of Phinda stations east.
And they would notice hard work's paid off. We've finally found some lions.
Crossing into Zuki to the third Phinda station.
There are 5 members of what's known as the Ngala Pride, and they're predominantly in the western side of the reserve. That's one of the older lionesses, and to her right there's a young male, one of the cubs. And the reason why I say young male is you can just see his mane starting. Just see his mane starting, and if you have a look at his front paws and legs and his back legs there, you'll notice he's still got those spots that the cubs will have, which they'll lose when they go into adult. Oh, the lioness just got whipped in the face by his tail. You'll also notice how that lion is breathing or panting very, very heavily. You see the rib cage moving up. You also notice a bit of a bulge around the stomach. A good sign that they might have had a meal a bit earlier. I'm just going to have to pull a little bit forward. There's another vehicle that's going to want to cross over. We're on actually one of the dam walls, so we're just going to have to let him pass quickly, and we will be back with the lions.
Area, okay?
Okay, let's turn around. Danny's asking, do I know how many individual lions? We'll go through here. We have on Phinda. A little bit difficult to say. The last census, I'm not too sure of the exact number. But I think it's sort of about late 20s, maybe low 30s at the moment. I know we've had some new cubs born quite recently. Well, we think we've had some new cubs born. And that might change the number, but I'd say probably late 20s, maybe low 30s at the moment. Oh, yeah. Iron's eagle eyes is crazy camera skills. Has spotted another, looks like another lioness hidden in the grass. From the angle we were a little bit earlier we couldn't actually see her. This goes to show how well they do camouflage. It is quite incredible to see how that young, for example, that young male on the left there, far left, having a look at sort of how small and almost cuddly he is now, but what he will be in the next 2-3 years, once that mane is fully grown and he starts to full out. It's incredible to see what they were and what they end up being. Quite a difference. There was another sign that they had possibly made a kill a bit earlier, other than their bellies and the panting. As we arrived, we did see a battalier flying over, or circling over. And you often find that they get to carcasses before vultures do. So whatever they killed might not be too far from here. You can also see the mud on that little cub's paws there, the front paws. I think earlier he might have gone for a drink and might have sunk into the mud a bit while he was going for a drink. Also, cubs do fool around a bit. They might have been running around with his other siblings. Quite nice to see these lions out in the open. Often the hottest part of the day they would be in the shade, whether it be under a tree or in the long grass. But I'm sure the viewers can hear the wind. It's quite strong today. It's been a bit of a cooler day than what it was the day before yesterday. So they're probably not feeling as hot as they would normally. I'm quite happy to be closer to the water. Heather's asking, how do lions choose their territories? So generally how it would work would be, for example, with the males, as they come of age, they would then look to take over their own territory. And they probably wouldn't be in the area where they were born. So then they would get pushed out into another area where, if there's no male and no dominant male in that territory, they would then take over that specific territory. If there is another dominant male, they'll either battle for it or move on to the next area until they find a territory that they can actually either make their own or take over. And then with the rest of the pride, with the lionesses stick together for life. So wherever that lion or lioness is born, she would stick in that area. And again, would stick to their own area unless they're looking to take over another territory. That's when they would move out and take over existing pride's territory. But for example, here on Phinda, or on the Munyuwana Conservancy, it's quite a big piece of land. So you don't often find these prides, at least not the lionesses, overlapping into other lionesses or other prides' territories, We have had it when the males in the south have moved up to the north and they had a bit of a battle. The males are a little bit more, they do cover a little bit more distance generally and look to take over other territories, like I mentioned, what a young male would do. Looks like that lioness is completely lying flat now. You can imagine if the rest of the pride were to get up and move into that grass, you'd pretty much lose sight of them.
Well, we've come exploring around Galago just to see what else is happening in the vicinity. Not much, actually. Seems like it's just one of those afternoons, like quiet but like steady afternoons. The temperature is really nice. All the animals are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So overall, I don't know. I think I would rate this afternoon quite high. All we need is some action once the sun starts setting, and then we'll be pretty happy, I would say. I was kind of hoping also that maybe we would bump into something coming around the dam, but not too much around there. Just, you know, some unperturbed guinea fowl after the racket they were making earlier. But besides that, not much. And we were just saying it's quite funny because this morning we obviously had to drive the same road a couple of times because the lions were pretty much in that direction, but like in this block, so very like right next to us basically. And it has such a different feeling today in the afternoon, you know, when we're not wearing 5,000 layers and things, and the sun is shining. So overall, it's pretty good. I think having sunshine does help. I was born by the Caribbean and I was raised there, and then I moved to South Africa where even in the winter we get this beautiful sunshine, so I cannot do grey days. I struggle with them. I'm really a child of the sun, like many people. Are you a child of the sun, Darren? Do you like grey weather? Not really, yeah. The beach, yes. Oh, haven't been to the beach in ages, but I would be happy to be able to get into a dam, but unfortunately in the dams around here, between what can eat you and what parasite you can you can grab, something like maybe bilharzia if you go in the water, and it's not advisable. Flowing river is probably best if you're able to go into a clear patch where there are no crocodiles, but also not something I would recommend all throughout.
Welcome back on Bushwalk. At the moment we are looking at a track that's been left behind by one of the snakes. We're not quite sure what species it is, but it might be one of the adders or possibly a python. And now that the temperatures have started increasing in the last few weeks, we see more and more tracks and signs of snakes on the roads. And it's very likely that he was actually basking over here in the late afternoon sun just to increase his body temperature before he goes active for the night. The coolest part of the nights, we often see that most snakes will become inactive. However, in summer nights, but with the heat and the temperature increasing, they will still remain active. We also see a number of snake species will actually not move very far from an area where they will feel safe in the winter months and only come out in the open to come and sun themselves and immediately retreat again as soon as the sun disappears. They've also got amazing ability to go for incredibly long periods without food and just simply live off their body fat. That's one of the benefits that they have of actually using the sun to increase their body temperature. So the type of motion that we see here by the snake, this is mostly what we describe as a caterpillar motion. And over here, there's a little bit of a S-winding that has taken place, and there's a bit of movement that has taken place over here. It's very likely that the snake actually moved off in this direction, as if the sand has been pushed off into this direction. So that would indicate that it's gone this way. We often look at the track as well when it comes to adders, and we can actually discern between male and female, as males have got slightly longer tails and they tend to make a drag mark in the center of the line of where they move. There's also a few other snake movements which we often see. This one that works like this, which is a sidewinding motion, which is typically used by snakes such as horned adders, which we used to find in the Kalahari when I went still guiding over there. And then also another type of motion is a typical S motion, which many of the snakes will use. And meanwhile, let's go and see what the others are up to.
Found this wonderful little pool with so much going on in it. But isn't that how all these rock pools are, or tidal pools? There's always plenty of animals and biodiversity. Here we have a sea anemone, in fact a collection of sea anemones. But what's fascinating about this one is that if you have a look at that middle, I mean it's a sphincter muscle, but essentially its mouth and its anus, you can see that there's a portion that it can't put away, as if a lip has been bust. Bit of it that it can't put away there. Now what's nice, at least from this side, is that you can see the trunk of the anemone, and you can obviously see the tentacles there. And the sand anemones often have these bands on the tentacles, which are easy to see, easy to recognize. But apart from that, they come in numerous colors. In fact, if you stare, I just saw a tentacle move. If you stare very, very carefully and quietly, we might see parts of it move. Apparently not. I promise I saw parts of it move. But if we look further down in this little pool, this anemone, I feel so bad pointing with the sharp end of pokey. If we look at this one, it's pulled all its tentacles into its central cavity. And that allows us to see the trunk. Can you see the outer bits with tentacles pulled in? This trunk fills up with water, and it has a hydrostatic skeleton. So it's just plumped up with water. And an anemone can, in a dire situation, say a sea turtle's come past and whooped it out, it can expel all that water, but at the compromise of having to re-ingest a whole lot of water to fill up all the different canals that it has alongside its body in order to maintain the pressure. It'll have to fill all of that back up. But they can, at will, change a lot of the shape of themselves, which is very, very cool. Now here, so here's this sand anemone that's pulled all its tentacles in. If we look here, there's a collection of shells, very randomly placed. And I can see it from this end, but there's a really small Cape sea urchin underneath there, bright red. Also, Cape urchins come in a variety of colors. They're wonderful. Ooh. Okay. I think this anemone that's closest to you, Jason, that one looks like it's slowly unfurling to reveal its tentacles. Sorry guys, the train's just come past again. But if we watch that very carefully, I think we might actually see it move. Or maybe it's the water playing tricks on me. Either way, I'm pulling you guys along with me. It's interesting because I saw it move just as some sunlight peeked through. Maybe not. Maybe not. I really, really want to see an anemone move. I mean, I've seen them move, but I've never seen them and shown it to you at the same time. Okay, there's a couple of other cool things happening around here, and luckily for us, the tide is going out, so it'll only get better after this.
Private Game Reserve. We just caught these two grey herons having a bit of a fight. One seems to have flown off. Oh, no, there it is. That's quite a beautiful scene with the herons flying off sort of into the sunset. Very pretty. We are still, of course, with the lions. I haven't actually got up to too much. One of the younger ones did stand up. I thought I was going to go for a drink, but only walked about 5 meters and lied down again. It's that young male. I still see it panting quite heavily. And you can imagine what they would get after quite a big meal, especially such a meal that's so high in protein. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to the feeling. It's pretty similar to where you have a big Sunday dinner. You feel quite warm after that. Vusi is asking a really interesting question. It's asking, when do lions start to participate in hunts? Normally close to about 2.5, 3 years old. Round about there is when they can actually start contributing. Before the age of 2, they're still quite clumsy and definitely need quite a bit of help from the adults, from mom. So yeah, about 2.5 to 3 years old is when they would actually start contributing, or at least getting a bit more involved. I think it's about at that age where they can start to understand how a hunt actually works and where to position themselves and how to work, if they are hunting in a pride, how to work together. I have seen some of the younger cubs actually get in the way and ruin a lot of the hunts. So you often find, especially when they're very young, mom will leave them stashed away while she goes and hunts, and then she'll then come back and fetch them and bring them to the kill. So it's about this age, probably the next half year, next couple of months, where these younger ones will start getting involved. It's also that age, 2.5, around about 2.5, where I mentioned earlier, the males will then get kicked out of the pride and look to take over their own territory and their own pride. Beautiful sunset here. Every now and then that lioness lifts up her head. I don't know with this wind if she hears something. She catches the scent of something. And she lifts her head and then just plonks it back down again. Normally at this time of the day, it's when you'd notice lions start to yawn and start stretching, and it's when they might look to get active. But I think because they've had a pretty decent meal, they won't get up to too much. Looks like that young one's going down to the water's edge. You can actually see what I was talking about a bit earlier. They covered a bit of mud on its paws. And you can just see how slippery it is there. Being very cautious, not sink down or slip in the mud. With that lighting and this sort of silhouette, you can see that mane of this young male just starting behind the head and underneath the neck.
Every year in August, South Africa marks Women's Month. WildEarth would like to acknowledge and thank all the amazing females who have worked tirelessly to share our nature with the world.
We're gonna have to just wait, okay? She's gonna come out there just on my right-hand side, and she can see these impala.
Now you've got to inhale it. It burns. I don't know if it's supposed to work instantly. Go, girl, go! Get her! Get her, girl, get her! I'm so looking forward to following her story in the future.
I'm really hoping there's two. I'm really hoping there's two. But you know, even if there's one, oh my goodness, everyone!
And I get to share it with you. Isn't that extra special? I get to experience it and show it to everyone.
We got there, he had probably moved a couple of 100 meters down the river and was about 10 meters from this causeway. So I radioed the lodge quickly and just asked them to bring a land cruiser around and some tow straps. So we thought we were going to try be heroes and save this giraffe. And now a big bull, probably over a ton. He's a big unit. I got the tow strap one side of the giraffe and managed to get it around him with the boat, and the other edge of the tow strap obviously back onto the bank, so we made this U around him because he was lying quite close to the bank. And yeah, we put that Land Cruiser in low range and we just gave it hell and pulled that giraffe, and the tow strap slipped up, and we thought, oh no, it's going to slip off the top of the head, and it caught on his ossicones at the top. And that last 10 meters pulled him out onto the bank, and he battled. He was obviously quite weak and all that.
I've seen something I've never seen here before. Look at these cubs. One is crossing the river. It's being washed away, unfortunately, but I'm sure the mother is going to save her. Look at that. How beautiful. Look at that. One crossing, 2 to go.
This really is the life. Got all the lions now deep and sound asleep, I would suppose, is the right wording for them. And I have to fight an uncontrollable urge just to go and tickle that chin. It really do. But they would not appreciate me doing that. If I were to set foot outside of this car, of this vehicle, they would go from pretty asleep to wide awake in just a fraction of a second. And their reaction could depend on a number of things, but they could either run away from us or, just come at us. Either way, they wouldn't let me tickle their chin or their paw that is in the bright sunshine. But it's quite nice actually to see it that way, because now you see what the imprint is, that when we see the tracks on the ground, you see those perfect 3 lobes that are at the bottom and then the toes on the top, and then you see the claws. You can't see the claws. So that's why when we are looking at the lion tracks, and we can tell, besides obviously by size, that it's a lion, it's because the claws are nowhere to be found. The spots of a cheetah, on the other hand, or if you were to look at the foot of a cheetah this way, then you would see the foot pretty much, a little bit smaller, but the same idea. And then you would see the claws at the top, because the claws are projectile. They can't really, they can't hide them in their sheath like the lions do. So no claws for the lions. This looks like a very worn down pad. It is very funny when they sleep that way. A very, very ladylike position. But this is the life. It must be really nice to be able to just fall asleep wherever you want. Imagine as humans we were allowed sort of to do the same thing. If you're just walking past a mall and then all of a sudden you're tired and you're just like, I'm just going to sleep right here. Like, this is my spot. And then you just sleep there, and you'll wake up with other passerbys, but not really bothered about anything or anyone else. And then, of course, you'd be able to determine if something is coming to catch you or to hurt you or not. Darren and I were commenting earlier as well on this male. He seems to be getting quite a nice mane lately. Slowly starting to grow. It'll be interesting to see if these guys are actually going to stick around here now that they're becoming older and stronger, because they're actually very big, even for male lions. The 2 boys that I've seen with this pride, and Darkmane might just allow them for them to stick around because of the added protection that they would offer to him. Pretty much. Just one male lion by itself is very vulnerable to, well, in this case, Darkmane even more, because he's got a foot injury. But if there were other lions to come, even younger nomadic lions, he would face some serious trouble if they were to try and take over. So it might work out for him if he allowed these youngsters to just kind of stick around the area. Also, I don't think he might have just enough force by himself to just chase him off this particular spot. So it's not unheard of that a father would make a coalition with its potential youngs or nephews or sons. It would actually be quite clever if he did, to be honest. And if anything, Darkmane has proven that somehow he knows how to survive. He's a very clever, that one. He's almost like, the underdog. Oh, I thought I saw another lion at the back, but it was just a lug. A few scars on the nose already, and at a young age. A lot of the times they get the scars by when they're eating. If they're like at a large carcass, then lions don't necessarily share their meals. I'm sure if you haven't, there's a very funny Friends episodes where it says that Joey doesn't share food. Well, lions are pretty much the same. They do not share food willingly, and when they have to, they just fight all throughout to make sure that they get more food than the lion next to them. Even the little ones, when they're about maybe 7-8 months old, and if they were to be at a kill of a big animal, you'll see them sort of trying to sneak in there and then get quite aggressive with one another and with the adults just to try and eat as much as they can, because obviously the more they eat, the more they're going to be able to grow. There's my guinea fowl friend alarming again. I mean, we're going to stick around here. Hopefully they'll stay here. But let's head to Trishala and find out if any of her rocks look like a sleeping lion. I'm sure she's missing them.
Ali, I have so many interesting things. At the moment, you're looking at an orange encrusting sponge. Just let that sink in. That's amazing. You can see that they've got little kind of holes in and out of. And sponges are basically the most basic type of animal. This is an animal. You can see little holes. That's what's telling me it's a sponge. And sponges are a kind of cells that are doing to maintain its body, and it is literally the most simple form of an animal, phylum Porifera. Phylum Porifera. These cells get the other side. That is unbelievable powers of regenerating, recombining. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And because they're so simple, they can do that. Animals that have very specialized cells can't do that because those specialized cells have already developed their speciality. Here, cells are so simple. Just beautiful. Well, I'm going to send you over to something else that has lots of orangey, but not too much buttons.
Well, nothing much has changed here. It'll be interesting to see how lions would fare in the ocean, or what they would think about the waves. I kind of just imagining them as big dogs, you know, sniffing the waves and then just looking at them and see what happens, and then just running back into the shore whenever a wave gets too close to them. There is a spot in sort of central West Africa, well, particularly Gabon, where you get elephants and hippos going into the ocean, and I feel like that would be quite a sight to witness at some stage in anyone's life, just to see these massive animals. And then apparently also forest buffalo make their way into that area. Would be quite beautiful. It's definitely on our list, on our bucket list. Maybe one day well, I don't think it's, it's an event that happens all the time. From what I've gathered, it's every now and again you might get lucky to see them, but it's not that they go there every afternoon or so. I mean, they are really tangled in those lions. I didn't notice before that the two females have actually, kind of crisscrossed their paws in there. Bianca, lions can go for a couple of days without a meal. I mean, I think the longest I've seen a lion to go without a meal was about 5 days to 7 days. But that was just based on our experience and the time that we spent with them. Could have been that they ate smaller things that perhaps wouldn't sustain them, but more like had a snack here and there. They don't have to eat every day, especially, well, after they've had a big meal where they've gorged themselves and then their tummies are very full. More likely than not, they'll spend 1 or 2 days trying to digest their meal, and then they'll go and actively start hunting again. Because also when they are that full of meat, which also takes a longer time to digest, I don't think they really want to go out hunting and chasing things and jumping on them. So if they were to to catch something big like the buffalo we thought maybe they were going to go and get, then, I mean, with all of them, I don't think it would last them that long, maybe a day or two with the buffalo if it's a nice big buffalo. And then they'll probably spend 2 or 3 days just eating that, digesting, and then moving on, and then going and trying to find something else. I think, you know, from what we've seen here, some of them might have eaten something small, I would say, in the last sort of 2 days that they've been away, but it doesn't seem like the vast majority of them have eaten too much. So, 2 females are now almost mirrors of one another. That is quite funny. Yeah, and just on the underside, you can see all the spots. You see lions are also spotted cats. It's just that their spots, as they grow older, tend to fade, and then you don't really see them in their tawny coat.
It's like a high five.
Yeah, it's true. Darren says it looks like a high five that froze, maybe. And it almost looks like a tawny lion and a white lion. We could pretend to be in Ngala today. I've never seen the white lion, so I'm not convinced they're real. I've looked for them hard and high and low, but to this day I haven't managed. So I don't believe any of the photos that Tristan and Taylor have taken, or Lisa. I'm going to call this my white lion. Nobody can tell me it's not. Guys, we had such high hopes for you. You really looked like you wanted to move, and then I don't know what happened. Communal laziness took over. I must say, it's incredibly sweet whenever they stretch, and then they kind of like tuck their paws in, and then they just kind of hug themselves. You're getting my hopes up that maybe you want to start moving. Eventually. Not just yet.
Lee coming.
Almost like the snoozing alarm.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah, Lee, that leopard is, if you go down Rhino Cut Line to go in there, it's just east of Rhino Cut Line.
Yes, so we did check Treehouse Dam. It was very quiet. Now we're currently driving into the sun, which is not the most comfortable thing to do. Quick link to Cape Town.
Guys, I'm going to be very quiet. We were just sitting here and I wanted to show you the feather duster worm above this octopus, and it just revealed itself. Here it comes, here it comes. Oh my goodness. I can't see it now. I'm behind the rock. I hope you guys still have a view. Yes. Oh my goodness. Every single person who has ever looked in a rock pool has hoped that they would find an octopus. This was one of those moments where we just sat tight, just looking at something so unassuming, just this feather duster worm minding its own business. And here comes this octopus. Now it's probably a common octopus. It's the only type that we see often here. They can get quite large. Arms can sometimes be up to 1 meter. Let me show you what I was looking at in the first place, and hope that it'll come out again. That, everybody, is a feather duster worm. Those frilly parts are the parts it uses to collect food. So just watch how pretty that is, while we all calm down that an octopus just visited us in this rock pool. Well, seems like there might be some gremlins out and about. They just all sort of popped their heads up for a second, so we thought maybe there was something around, and they gazed off into the distance. But we couldn't tell what it was that caught their attention, and obviously they were not too worried about it, seeing they've just gone back to sleep. It's quite funny, the position that they're in. I mean, I understand when they first found the spot, potentially there was a... Oh, that's a nice stretch. There wasn't a lot of shade available, and they were all on top of one another. But now there's, it's cooler, there's a lot more shade, and then they're just still all pretty much on top of one another. It's quite funny. Even bringing the tail in. No, tail out. Never mind. It's a funny pattern. I see dark mane every now and again. He's by the tree where we had him last. And then every now and again I can see he's also kind of stretching and turning around and then just moving again. Fortunately, there's no point where we can park and have a clear view of all of them, because they have nestled themselves in between a bunch of different trees and branches, which I'm sure was not, just by accident. These are clever creatures after all. I think we're getting almost onto the uncomfortable part of sleep, where they're kind of asleep but awake, that in-between stage where you just want to carry on sleeping, but your brain might have a different opinion on it. I love that all their paws are stuck in the same spot. It's almost like siblings when they all sleep tucked together in a room, and then, you kind of start trying to push your feet somewhere, and then somebody else puts them there, and then you just want to push them and make them move. There's really something to be said about dealing with all these social interactions. The temperatures definitely cool down. Layer number 1 is coming on.
Still pushing their feet in the back, the paws. It's quite an odd shape in which they find themselves. I'm pretty sure this is not how they started, and as they reshuffled, because when we first saw them earlier this afternoon, they were lying, or one of them at least was lying a little bit more towards the termite mound, but maybe that got uncomfortable and the sun started shining in her eyes, and then she moved, and then the other two kind of stuck where they are. I think maybe the Egyptian geese are also starting to irritate her, because we can hear them quite loudly on the dam. Not sure what's happening with them, but they wouldn't be able to keep a secret anywhere. That's an odd position to go to sleep. That's very sweet. While we carry on looking at this lions have a cuddle, let's have a look at the Mara expeditions.
The Masai Mara in Kenya is an iconic wilderness filled with life. Its inspirational beauty has captivated our hearts on WildEarth for many years. While this season of the world's greatest migration has been missed, WildEarth is preparing a spectacular comeback in 2022. For the first time ever, WildEarth will be running expeditions to Kenya's Masai Mara throughout the 2022 migration season. Hosted by David Githu and Isaac Rotich, you could be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration with the world, live on WildEarth's daily safaris. If you're interested, then head over to our website to find out more.
Welcome back to Bushwalk, and I've just been thinking about East Africa and the Mara expedition and how beautiful sunsets are in East Africa. We're busy enjoying our sunset over the low-veld region of South Africa, and it's probably going to hit the horizon within the next 5 minutes. We're just going to do a quiet segment, and hopefully we'll be able to hear
Well, at least we can rely on the lions being constant. There's a lot more stirring going on, so I'm a little bit more hopeful than what we were maybe 20 minutes ago. And the male has been staring in our direction. Don't really think he's looking at us. I think more like he's in a kind of like in a haze state. Of course, as we say this, he's going to close his eyes and go back to sleep. But he was kind of facing in our direction for quite a long time, and as he is now, so I think I hope that at least he'll get up and, I don't know, move around a little bit. They were so active this morning, and it was so nice to see all of them walking. I'm actually not even sure what distance they walked, because they could have walked already a long way before we found them this morning. So, fair enough. They need their beauty sleep. It's quite funny the way that they're sleeping, though. And the one on the right, that female is just, I suspect is one of the other young females. She's just kind of holding on to the male and then just hugging him and having a good sort of cuddle session. For a moment there, I even thought maybe she had her tongue stuck out, but no, it wasn't. I was just looking at a piece of grass. And obviously, the male is not too bothered. This is the way lions sleep, pretty much everyone on top of everyone. And then if you find yourself at the bottom of the pile, then you somehow just try to get yourself out of it. I've seen little cubs being squashed before by, the bigger siblings' love. We're going to carry on waiting. I think we're onto something now. But we'll send you guys across to Trishala in the meantime. Maybe she knows what the animal that sleeps the most in the ocean is.
Whew. That was unbelievable, everybody. Unbelievable. Let me tell you a little bit about this beautiful specimen first before we start chatting about our amazing octopus sighting we just had. This here is a feather duster worm, or it's a type of bristleworm or a type of polychaete. And if you can have a look, it's quite aptly named feather duster worm because it's got these feathery things. These are called chaetae from the word polychaete. And it uses these chaetae to kind of catch any debris that goes flowing by and pulls into its tube. I'm not sure if you're able to see the tube, but it's just behind it there. And that tube is made out of salivary or like mucousy type of liquid mixed with whatever food particles and sand and other debris that it can't ingest. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? And I really love this spiral pattern because it looks very much like a Fibonacci spiral. Awesome. So if you walk by, I don't know if you saw when the octopus walked by this feather duster worm, it pulled in its feathers, or its dusters rather, pulled it in because it knew that danger was coming. Yes, an octopus could grab this and eat it, but it wouldn't want to grab the actual pipe around the tube because that's very hard, quite cement-like. In fact, I don't know if you remember some time back when I was with Jandre, we were looking at these, just the tubes that were quite close to the water on the intertidal zone in the Misty Cliffs. They're made by a similar type of creature. Also one of these tube worms, but this one is a feather duster worm, a polychaete. This feather duster worm, we owe that wonderful sighting to this feather duster worm. Also, these worms come in a variety of colors. I've been seeing some orange ones around too, which is very, very pretty. I'll show it to you when we get up and have a look on that side. There were also some fish moving around. I only saw them because they were frantically trying to get away from the octopus. Now let's chat about the octopus for a moment. So that was a common octopus, most likely, like I said to you. That's Octopus vulgaris, the one that is pretty much often seen in this area. They can get quite big. The head can get to about 60 centimeters with tentacles up to a meter. This one looked pretty small. Its head was probably only about 15 centimeters or so. Tentacles pretty short. And maybe a maximum, not even a kg, I'd say. They can grow to a maximum of 6 kgs. This one may be a kg, but it's very hard to tell with a gelatinous body like that in some ways. And they often do hide away in little rock pools like this, especially those that are easily exposed to the ocean where they can easily move in and out. And this rock provides a perfect little hiding space for that octopus. So that was really, really such a treat.
Calling all WildEarth explorers, we have a new and frankly awesome travel prize for you to win. andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve encompasses an impressive 28,000 hectares of protected wildlife land in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. As you have seen on WildEarth, andBeyond Phinda showcases one of the continent's finest game viewing experiences and is well known for close-up sightings of the elegant yet elusive cheetah as well as the rare black rhino. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the 16th of September and you and a friend could be heading to the magnificent Phinda Mountain Lodge, where you will spend 3 nights escaping the real world at this ultimate safari location. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Our competitors are in the room behind me right now for the birding challenge, where they have to look at pictures and identify the birds and then separately listen to bird calls and identify them. But it's not easy. This is going to be the toughest one. Here we have the previous year's winners. You can see they're trying to see if they can remember all the answers, and look at them taking a sneak peek.
You are cheeky. That was a brave decision. Amber Eyes is... Oh. That is so magic. That was absolutely wonderful. Amber Eyes just gave that cub an enormous hug.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Well, Darren and I were just watching this male lion. I don't think he knows what he's done. It's almost like we were saying it's the equivalent of grabbing a blanket and not knowing what to do with it. He kind of stretched out, and then there's this twig almost. I'm going to call it like a big twig. And he keeps moving it, and then he keeps kind of getting tangled in between its legs, and then it moves, and then it irritates the one lioness, and then the other one. So it's quite funny to watch. Or it has been quite funny to watch him just kind of like hold it and then move it and then not know how to get rid of it. Like that. Because then obviously it's uncomfortable. The struggles of sleeping in the bush. I must say, I do love that female that's just kind of holding on at the back. Don't know what's happening, but she's definitely like, no, don't go. Oh, that's very cute. I mean, of all the space that they could have, they've decided to do a puddle. If it were really, really, really hot, I think they wouldn't all be so banged up together. Likely they would be just as we first saw them in the afternoon, kind of lying together, but not that together. Quite funny. I think the twig is, or that piece of branch is almost on his face now. Oh, you see, when he put his paw on the twig, then you could see his claws coming out. Oh, now we're biting it, okay. It's the little things in life, isn't it? I must say, after the shower today, they're actually looking incredible. They're looking so clean and so pretty, almost like they needed to get rid of some of that dust, because I'm sure after they were walking about, likely they all sat down and started grooming themselves and one another to get rid of all the mud and all the things they might have picked up in the walking through the grass, through the wet grass. And they're looking very pretty today, looking very healthy. Sometimes they don't look that well, or I don't know, their coats don't look that shiny. Seems like JP is enjoying the last bits of the day, so let's head over to him and then enjoy the sunset.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. Yes, we are enjoying the last little bit of sunset. We're also enjoying the distant sounds of some elephants in a drainage line, and it still amazes me after 21 years how such a large animal can disappear in thick vegetation like that. We're just going to sit in silence. Hopefully we'll hear them again and enjoy that sunset. Good evening, Don, and welcome to the show. It just does never get old. And that's for 21 years of my guiding career, entertained me every single day, with the exception of those days when it's obviously overcast. There was nothing nicer for me always when I was younger, when I finished off my cycles in the afternoon, to go and sit on the beach and enjoy a sunset, and then ride back home afterwards. Well, as we're going to watch the sunset, let's go and see what Trishara is up to at the beach. She's at least got another few hours of sun available, and hopefully she will also be able to provide you with a beautiful sunset this evening.
What's happening in Cape Town? She's got enough to see the owls for her sunset. Goodbye, live.
Technically, yes, JP, but at the moment the mountain has gobbled up the sun and the wind has picked up, so it's freezing, at least here. Anyway, I just wanted to show you there's two different colored feather duster worms. They're one orange, one white, so that's quite cool to have a look at. And I also wanted to tell you some of the wonderful comments that we've gotten. Talar, you say, I totally love the golden color of the rocks. Slightly less golden now, with the sun gone. I see some movement. Is that a little fish just below? Yeah, it is a little fish. Can you see it there, Jason? Yeah. Cute little fish. Hello, fishy. Looks like it might be a type of clipfish, or clipfish, or rockfish. Clip being rock, you guys would know, klipspringer, and vis meaning fish in Afrikaans. Looks like a little clipvis. It's difficult to see. I'm on the other side of the pool. And then I've also had a lovely comment from N. Matthews. You say you love the crashing waves, it's your favorite. Well, I added that you love it because I love it. But you say crashing waves is my favorite. Awesome, guys. I'm really happy that you guys are enjoying the Cape Town portion of the drive. Being able to explore the different type portion. Look at this little fish. Be careful, fish. That octopus is somewhere under the rock there. And you would... Ooh, this wind is picking up and it is really cold, so I think that we're going to try and look for a slightly more sheltered area and see what's promising on the other side of these particular rocks. The rock pools here extend quite far, so we'll see what we can find on that side. And I'm going to send you over to someone in Djuma. Maybe it's Ali. Well, seems like we have made some progress, and I almost want to say that our patience is almost starting to pay off. I don't want to say it too loud because I don't want to jinx it. But one of the females sort of just got up and then started moving around and, you know, had her bowel movements, and then the rest of them got up. Now she's looking behind us because I think there are more lions lying down behind us, and I think they were moving earlier, and I think that's what she heard. I'm not sure if she can see them. I certainly cannot see the lions on the other side, but I could hear something moving in the long grass, and I know the rest of the lions were there. So I think maybe she's just making sure that everything is fine. Oh, okay, we've got all of the heads up facing this way. But that's a lion, guys. It's part of your pride. We've got dark mane looking, and we've got the other female looking, but it's 100% another lion, the one that's moving at the back. Maybe the one that we were missing, because we counted about 10 this morning, and here we counted 8, 9. Oh, okay. Well, that's it would be nice if she were just sitting. Good, Darren, for making her look ladylike. And now they've started walking. Okay, guys. Maybe it's time to go look for more food. Certainly some of you seem hungrier than the rest. It's amazing with them how they knew. Ah, there's 2 there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8. But I'm sure if they all carry on moving, we'll be able to see them. So I'm gonna wait for them to all get up and start going. There's a lot of yawning around here, and it's funny how as soon as the one moves, so sort of all of the heads just started popping up, and they've all carried on. I must say it was actually quite unexpected. I thought it was going to take them a little while longer to actually get up and start moving. Oh, even dark mane is stretching now. You see the female on the left is grooming. That's also a good indication that they're starting to get active. So she is licking her paw, and then she just kind of uses her paw to scrub her face clean, because otherwise, unfortunately, their tongues aren't as long as the ones of the giraffe, so they can't really use their tongues to clean their entire faces, even though they might try. Now there's a yawn, and then they're just looking still in the direction of where these other lions have gone through. They're just basically going straight sort of east, in a line back to, I mean, the nearest road would be Bushwalk cut line from where we are, but we're still at quite a distance. I mean, we are basically in the middle of Djuma. I think they're contact calling now, the ones that have decided to carry on moving. See, let's have a look at this. Maybe it is her that I was seeing earlier, because you see, as soon as she got up and started walking, dark mane did too. And we had a female this morning that the 2 males were sort of trailing and sniffing, so might be worth to see if maybe this is the case. I think he's going to walk right in front of us, which will be quite nice. It'll be a nice clear view of him. I'm just hiding here so you guys can see, not because I'm scared. Oh,
we've got the two limpy lions over here. Shame, but even though they've had their injuries, because you can see they don't walk perfectly well, particularly dark mane, just look at their general condition. They're both in beautiful shape. There's a lot to be said for lion resilience. They're actually quite incredible creatures as to everything they endure and how they still manage to survive and keep up with the pride. Oh, we've got these two on our right going at a tussle, which is quite nice to view. It was quite funny the way she just decided the best thing to do was just to stand on his stomach. Sneaky, sneaky lions. All right. Oh, well, just don't move too much, Darren. We've got just one behind us that has decided the best spot to go to. The loo is just behind the car, and then the other female is just there, just looking for the rest of the pride. I mean, it's quite a interesting position we find ourselves in right now. But as long as we don't make any sudden movements, the lion will be more interested in finishing his business than anything else. I see he's finished now, and then he's carrying on. Perhaps he's just gonna, give Darren a bit of a side glance. Oh no, he's gone the other way around. Never mind. I can see him now. Yeah, they've all gone up the same way. So the first lions that started moving, they moved up in that particular spot where she's walking away. And these two that are the ones that are lagging behind, seems like they're going to follow that exact position. And we've just got the young male behind us. It's, if I could give him a name, I would call him Ricardo, after my brother. He was also the one that we all had to pull to get going to go to school, because he just didn't want to wake up or go where he was supposed to go. He would probably not even deny these things that I'm saying. Alrighty, I think I'm just gonna switch on the vehicle and then see where they go, and then we'll be able to hopefully follow them for a little bit. They were contact calling, or I thought they were contact calling just a little bit earlier. Sorry, I just want to try and put the low range so that we can make this process a lot easier for everyone. Whoop. Leopard lover, I'm not too sure what the longest time I've spent tracking lions has been. I would say a couple of hours. I mean, if you are a guide and if you've got guests, then it's not always possible to spend a long time, because a lot of times people can get a little bit nervous if you leave them on the vehicle by themselves. But we've got on sort of tracking missions where, we just go guides and all together. Sorry, I see that they're walking there. And then you're able to spend more time looking for them, because obviously you don't have to worry about your guests feeling uncomfortable being alone in the vehicle for so on. So I think perhaps one of the longest tracking missions, maybe with Herbie, that we had here, where we would go out for the entire morning or afternoon drive and then just try to spend time looking for the lions. Sometimes it was very quick and sometimes it was not. Ah, here they are. I thought they were going to carry on moving. Oh, it seems like Trishelle is having a wonderful time by the rocks, so I'm going to send you guys across to her while we try to reposition and find a better view of all their lion heads.
Warn you before we have a look at what it is that I wanted to show you, that it's not pretty and it's quite sad. It is an animal that has died. It is a Cape fur seal that has died, obviously quite recently because it doesn't smell at all. There we go. It's quite young, and like I said, it doesn't smell at all. It's obviously, it's not actually, it's not actually in this. Very, very, very. Now it's likely that this is a pup from last year. So it's probably almost a year old, and the way that Cape fur seals reproduce is that basically as soon as the mum gives birth to the pup that she's carrying in her, within the next week or so she mates again to get pregnant with the pup that she'll give birth to the following year, bar some blastocyst waiting periods or pauses in blastocyst development. That's a blastocyst is a very, 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 very early stage of fetal development. Like, you wouldn't even call that a fetus. Very, very early stage. So she can delay development after that by up to about 4 months. But what ends up happening is that one pup is born and the next one is conceived almost immediately. That's why it's quite easy to tell from the size of this Cape fur seal and its condition that it's probably a pup from last year. Their biggest threat are great white sharks, especially when it comes to really young seals, couple months old, that are trying to learn how to swim, and they can, I guess, look like a juicy flailing treat to many sharks. And often they don't swim very well at that point. But also, much like with Impala, there's a lot of them. Lots of them are produced, so there's only so much the predators can eat. And like with all the animals out there, there's loss everywhere you turn. But this will become food for something else. And it's in a place where hopefully nobody will disturb it. When I was actually sitting on the rock above it, and then I realized that, I just looked down actually. And I thought it was a dog or something next to me. And then I realized, oh, it's a seal. And then I thought the seal was sleeping, and I got really excited, and then we figured out it's not. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. It's always important to understand these feelings that we have about animals, and also to be curious about them. Yeah, but it is sad. Anyway, let me send you over to somewhere else while we continue to look around.
Come back with us. So we did travel quite a bit around Djuma, and we came back to Talamati. I apologize, we had a few technical issues with our audio earlier. Also, there's other vehicle here, so you might see some flashes. I apologize for that too. So she's not in the same place where we saw her earlier. She was on the termite mount, and apparently, and we saw 2 hyenas when we came. Apparently, hyenas had to chase her up the tree with the kill. So we can see the kill now. It's on the branch just left of her. But how beautiful is that? Doesn't seem that there's much left on the kill. Yeah, otherwise we haven't been too lucky around Djuma and Chitwa, so we decided to come back here, and I think it was a great idea because that sighting is really, really nice. It's always amazing to see a leopard lying in the tree like that. So you can see the stomach is a bit on the side there. It's because she must be quite full, so she doesn't want to put too much pressure on the stomach. Yeah, soon we arrived close to, was still on the road, but close to the block. There was 2 hyenas that was leaving the area. Peach Bunny, you're saying she's such a beauty. I agree, totally. And it's still a little bit difficult for me to recognize her. But I think today, because I spent quite a bit of time and she was static, I think it will be a bit easier in the future to recognize her. But she is indeed beautiful. You can see the heavy breathing there. She must have got quite a lot of meat. She does look a little bit sleepy. I'm not sure if she's going to stay here or start being mobile. There's not a lot of meat left on that kill, so she might go for a drink a bit later. We are very close to Buffalo Shook, so she might go that direction or maybe head south. I know she likes to go to Zoe's Road sometimes, so maybe she will head south when she finishes that kill. Just going to stay quiet a little bit and let you enjoy. It makes you want to fall asleep. Just seeing how she relaxes and just resting on that branch there. Oh, I think that's irritated her now. Maybe a fly or something. Never getting tired of seeing a leopard in the tree like that. I did look around as well for some birds, but not much luck with bird of prey this afternoon. I did find a very small bird of prey at one stage, but it quickly flew away. Okay, so sorry, we're going to switch to infrared now. It's getting a bit dark. Yes, I was saying we had a very small bird of prey, and I was not sure which one it was. Maybe a little sparrowhawk or something, but I didn't have time to have a good look. But I must say, instead of seeing a bird in a tree, it's so nice to see a leopard in a tree now. Yeah, there might be other vehicle joining us as well on the sighting. I apologize. There's a bit of noise. Okay, so I think we're going to sit here a little bit longer and see what she does. Oh.
The Masai Mara in Kenya is an iconic wilderness filled with life. Its inspirational beauty has captivated our hearts on WildEarth for many years. While this season of the world's greatest migration has been missed, WildEarth is preparing a spectacular comeback in 2022. For the first time ever, WildEarth will be running expeditions to Kenya's Masai Mara throughout the 2022 migration season. Hosted by David Githu and Isaac Rotich, you could be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration with the world, live on WildEarth's daily safaris. If you're interested, then head over to our website to find out more.
And I turned to shore and I saw that she had this panicked look on her face. Either she was afraid that something had happened or she was afraid that she was going to miss out on something. But instead of her missing out on those lions, we drove up next to them and I switched off the car so that she could hear what was going on. Now, these lions had killed a kudu, and she could hear these two cubs, both 8 months old at the time, busy pushing and shoving each other out the way to get to the best parts of the meat. And the mom was lying just to the side in the shade. Now, I'd known that before losing her sight, Sean probably knew what a lion looked like. But I really wanted her to know what this lion looked like. So for the first time in my guiding career, I started to describe to someone what a lion looked like. And I found that, I started to notice things in that lion that I'd never seen before.
Oh, it's going to be in trouble now. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. Here comes a hippo in too. Go, Impala. There's a hippo coming in. I can't believe what we're seeing here. This is what we normally see in East Africa. It's all over. Hippo leaping at the crocodile now. Everything's gone underwater.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
So she's currently turning her back on us. Yeah, so she was standing on the branch now trying to feed maybe. But actually it is quite nice to see that like that. Look how long the tail is, and look at that. Very special. She might go down now or go on another branch. Oh, what a special sighting. I'm enjoying that. Oh, I hope you guys are enjoying it too. It's not so fun that I see, well, on my side, a leopard moving on the tree so much like she did in the past 2 minutes now. Very, very cool. I really like the way when they lie on a branch like that. So maybe her tummy is not that full, so she feels quite comfortable to lie in this position there. Sorry, there's a vehicle moving around. I apologize for the noise. Oh, beautiful. I am very happy at the moment, I must tell you. So the vehicle just going in a different position, but we can get a better view. On our side we're quite well positioned here, so we're quite lucky. Oh, as soon as I say that, she turned her head. So I'm just waiting for that vehicle to stop and then I will continue speaking. There we go. I think they found the right position for themselves now. Yeah, they are actually in a better place than us now. But I'm sure she will turn ahead again. I hope you guys are enjoying that sighting as much as we do. So myself and Morgan, we arrived on the same day, and this morning it was the first leopard sighting we got since we arrived. So it was very nice to share that together. Oh, and the lions too, yeah. Morgan is saying, and the lions. The lions was awesome as well this morning. You never know when the bush is going to surprise you, huh? Which is the fun part of it. Can I apologize for the flashes? It's just some, guys doing some nice pictures of that beautiful leopard. Look at these legs are hanging, so relaxed, no tension at all. So generally for the animals, their front paws are bigger than their front feet actually are bigger than their back feet. The reason of that is that most of their weight is on the front part of their body. Because they generally have big head, big chest, so it's quite heavy on the front of. This is a general rule for most of the animals. If you look at elephant tracks, it's the same. Obviously, antelope, I don't think there's quite a big size difference, but for the cats, for example, lions and leopard, their front foot will be bigger than the back foot. It's getting quite dark here now. We're quite in the block, so it will be quite funny to get out of here. But I think there's a few cars that drove here, so there's quite a nice road out. Okay, so we will see if we can stay a bit longer here, unless we have to give space for other vehicles. In the meantime, we'll send you to Ali, who's following the Talamatis.
Well, we are indeed trying to keep up with them, but I don't think I can go through there. To be honest, I'm not sure where on the pride line we are sitting. I do think that there are a few more behind us, but I think probably there's a female here that we're sticking with because she's, for now, the only one that we can see. And I want to try and catch up with her around here. She did stop at one stage and was listening very intently to something that was ahead of them. So I think, obviously don't think they've found anything just yet that they want to try and hunt, but they are definitely looking for something. And as we said, the buffalo were here this morning, but we know where they headed off. And it's not quite exactly where these lions are right now. But if they came across something else, like a kudu perhaps, or a zebra, I'm going to try their luck. She was somewhere around here, so I just want to maybe see if we can spot her. They do hide very well, these lions. Just trying to see around us. I don't know where she's gone now. Oh, there she is in front of us. I thought I could hear some grass being trampled. And now she's hiding behind it somewhere. Alright, we're gonna try to keep up with these guys, but we'll send you guys to a very pretty leopard.
Yeah, we're still with La Lomba, and it is an amazing sighting. It's so nice that you can see some lions with Ellie, and then a leopard with us. But how nice is that? It's the best sighting I had over. Most of the time it was quite a quick sighting, except I saw her with a kill the last time I was here. I think Andrew found her in the morning and I was with her in the afternoon. But it was very leafy tree, if I may say so. So we couldn't get a good visual, but now it is perfect. So she's currently in the marula tree, and they lose their leaf during winter. You will find them also lying in marula trees in summer, especially when it's hot, in the shade, because then the leaves are back. It is like the perfect type of trees for leopard, but I would love to see, I did see before, but very nice to see leopards in a jackalberry tree as well, which is a more dark color bark. Yeah, I'm not sure what she's going to do tonight. We'll try here again tomorrow, but I think she might be gone. I think tomorrow morning she might not be here anymore, but you never know. Oh, look at that. A little yawn, that might be a sign that she wants to move. Okay, so we will try to stay there a little bit longer, but if we can't, we'll have to move out the area to leave space for other vehicles. But hopefully, we'll see.
Welcome back, everyone, to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. Just before you came back to us, we did have actually lions from another pride, but it was in a dip of a valley, so we struggled a little bit with our signal, and they then moved off. So then we lost them in quite a thick area. And we're slowly moving back in the south of the reserve. As you can see, we've got the spotlight out. Got the spotlight out and basically just scanning from left to right, looking for reflection in any animal's eyes. We won't, however, shine the light on any diurnal animals that are active during the day, just to be a little bit more sensitive. When we do come across something like a leopard or lion, we'll then use a red filter. That's a bit more sensitive on their eyes. What we do often when we're looking for leopard is we will try and drive roads that we've seen them a little bit more often on. These roads are often part of their boundaries, and you're hoping to come across them on something like a little territorial boundary walk. That's, yeah.
Even we can do a bit of tracking here out in the tidal pools or the rock pools that we see out in Cape Town. Look at these amazing tracks that are being made by all the tiny creatures that are walking through these pools. And they're always walking around in the pools. When we're walking is a strong word, but they certainly do move, mostly the mollusks, as they move through like this, creating these very distinctive paths as their foot pulls or pushes apart the sand so they can move around and making quite awesome patterns. And because this is quite close to the ocean, this particular pool, a lot of sand has been thrown in, and that means that we can see all these crazy paths they've made very clearly. I think it's really awesome to see it. Also, you can see it in motion here. Here it looks like it's creeping up on that cushion star. I'm sure you guys are... Oh, there goes the wind. You guys are familiar with cushion stars now. I've been seeing them quite often. Be interesting to see what it does when it gets there, because as you can see from the path, it just went over the cushion star the last time. In fact, that seems to be the typical way that animals move past cushion stars. The other ones that I'm seeing here, they just kind of, their trails just go straight over the stars. As I suspected. It will just go past. Carefully, or will you turn and go over the cushion star? It looks like an alicroical, or a turban shell, not top shell. It's basically a type of sea snail. Now, if the cushion star could get a good hold on this turban shell, it would extrude its stomach and its stomach juices and try to ingest the fleshy foot of the snail. But I guess maybe the snail has a size advantage in this particular case. Anyway, let us have a look up at the wonderful view that we are so lucky to see, especially since the sun is setting and we still had a bit of light to share with you. And the mountains are spectacular. A beautiful scene to say goodbye for today from us in Cape Town. Let's send you back over to Ali. It's probably an IR in Djuma. You can see lion's eyes. They've just tried to hunt. There was a herd of Impala around here that's just come past running. But they've all gone away, and this is why we're using the spotlight then to try and find where the lions are. And I think they've missed, because there we go. I can't really put the lights on, because then we are going to give an unfair advantage to either one. So we're just kind of sitting still where we are. The Impala alarm calling was sort of to the right of the screen. And I can hear a few footsteps sort of in front of us. And I think the lions are somewhere, or where we saw the eyes, those two eyes pointing straight forward, were just kind of to the left of us. Is that maybe a lion? Can you go here? I thought there was maybe a lion in there somewhere. Sorry, we're just trying to use the technology that's available to us to see if perhaps we can find them without having to turn lights or anything on, because these guys are definitely on the hunt. They were trying to approach this herd of Impala, but then the herd of Impala either heard them or sniffed them out and started alarming, and then they've all sort of run in front of us and away from us. And I'm not too sure where the lions are now, but I just want to make sure that there are no more Impala lurking around here before we switch on our lights or try to find out where the lions have gone. Because the IR, so you're seeing everything in black and white, is because we're using the infrared light, which actually looks that there's a lot of light in the scene, but there actually isn't any light, and we have all of our lights switched off, so we've been using that to try and determine where they are. But it's getting a little bit thick now.
wonder where they've been. I have a feeling this is going to be their evening. They're going to be chasing all sorts of things because they're looking hungry. I think everyone's gone here now. I'm going to try and switch on our light, see if maybe we can find some lion eyes somewhere. Nope. Let's just go forward a little bit. See if maybe they are around. Oh, I see eyes quite far away, but I don't know if they belong to a lion or something else. Did you see them? Okay. Just in front of us. Just lurking in the darkness. Sorry guys. I think those herd of Impala knew you guys were coming. Although, a little Impala, I mean, they're all spread out now, and as I was mentioning earlier, if they were to catch one, perhaps the first sort of 2 or 3 lions on the scene would get the most of it. The rest of them likely, once they heard the commotion and heard them fighting for the food, would come roaring and try to locate, well, not roaring, but, you know, come ready to grab their piece, and then they would try to fight them to get a little bit. So lions are very noisy eaters, you can always tell, unlike sort of leopards that are quite quiet, and cheetahs, and they try to hide the fact that they're eating. Lions have no problem announcing it to the world. So we've only managed to catch up with one. I think maybe there was another one somewhere around here, because lions tend to normally, especially if they're hunting bigger things, you'll have one that will break away from the pride, and then you'll have almost like a fan arrangement. So they'll be in a fan shape, and then she's going to try, and the one that's broken away, she's going to try and direct whatever it is that they're trying to hunt, in this case maybe the Impala, towards the rest of the pride so that they can try and catch it. But in this case, I think this was just her, and maybe that's why it was a bit on the unsuccessful side. A lot of sort of holes and stumps here, so we're trying to follow the lions without
sorry about that, it's a technical issue, and it happened just when we decided to try to reposition to get a better look of the beautiful Talamba. Yeah, as you know, we're reporting live from the bush, so these things happen. So we're still sitting with Talamba, and she's started to feed now. She's facing the other way. It was not quite easy to get a better position than that now, unfortunately. Also, there's a few vehicles around. Say there's some spotlight and flashes. I apologize about that. Okay, so let's stay with Talamba. It is a very nice sighting.
My name is Nomfundo Ndlovu, and I'm the Senior Project Manager for the Oyster Schools and Youth Unit. I'm a qualified horticulturalist. I'm particularly passionate about supporting schools towards working through their sustainability journey and towards food sovereignty throughout food gardening projects. typical day in my work involves me overseeing our national projects and creating an enabling environment for schools to thrive and succeed in working towards self-reliance and sustainability, and really ensuring that no school gets left behind.
For me, the best part about being a guide is being able to live out in Africa's wild places and being able to share that with people. Of all the challenges, for me, the one that I'm probably the most comfortable with is the game drive. I think that's what I do most days, so that would probably be what I feel like I'd do the best at. Almost like someone's put little Lego blocks up there and made this perfect little sort of statue, and there's another one further along as we drive. One of the challenges I'm the most nervous about would probably be shooting. I think on the day there's always quite a bit of pressure and intimidation, always associated with it, but I guess we'll see how it goes. I hope I'll win this competition, but if I don't, it's still been an experience of a lifetime, and I've learned a lot and met a lot of really, really cool people.
Goodness, look at its wobbly legs. Oh, I don't believe it. I can't believe we've actually seen it. Oh my goodness. Oh, careful, careful, careful. Oh no. Oh, it's okay, little one. Okay.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
The area. I'm trying to relocate them.
So,
Ellie's got them there.
seems like we have managed to find a couple of them. They're lying down sort of all around us right now, but I can count only around 4 individuals. It is dark, so it's a little bit hard to tell how many of them are actually around us, but I think we've just had a glimpse, albeit short but exciting, of what their evening is going to be looking like. So very likely they will not be around this area tomorrow morning. They would have carried on hunting and then just looking for something else. And I see a couple of eyes all around us. There's another lioness sort of coming in that area. Just trying to also give the guys that are coming to join us on the sighting a bit of an idea of where they are. That's a very, almost like a very scary look with, the lion walking and there's another lion behind it. And you can just see the eyes. So whenever you're out with a spotlight, it's easier to actually just look for a shine on the eyes rather than the actual shape of the animal, because they move behind and in front of the trees. Then it's not that easy. And then if you see 2 eyes looking straight at you, then you know you're likely looking at a predator, because most of the predators have binocular vision where the eyes will be in front like us humans, and then other antelope species then will have eyes on the sides. They're all around here. Count about maybe 4 or 5 of them. Oh, there's one more coming this way. We're going to let the lions catch up with us and hopefully have a better look. But we'll send you guys off to the princess, see how she's enjoying her afternoon lion-free.
Yes, the princess indeed. And she's very busy on that tiger carcass there. I would have been better to have a better angle, but unfortunately where we are now, this is what we have. But it's still quite impressive to see a leopard feeding in the tree like that. So obviously we can see very well with the infrared, but where we are it is completely dark. We can see only the shadow of La Lomba with the sky at the back. Not sure if you can hear her feeding, but she's really busy eating that carcass. I'm not sure if she's going to be there still tomorrow. That would be nice, but we will definitely come check the area. Well guys, as always, thank you very much for joining us. We really enjoyed showing you this amazing sighting. It was a great day today. I hope you enjoyed it. As usual, great receiving your question. Please also send some question tomorrow as well. And I hope you will join us tomorrow morning for the morning drive and in the afternoon as well. So I would like to say goodbye for now.